Roll advantage or disadvantage. When will I ever need 4 d20s?
You will be surprised.
Yeah.
They're different sizes.
Yeah.
Perfect.
So I've got a giant one, and a regular one, and a tiny one.
Good. I mean,
Excellent.
if you need to differentiate them, this is first attack with advantage. This is second attack with advantage.
Hey, I'm playing the fighter.
And for those rare occasions that you need a two-sided one,
Oh, nice.
yeah, it's cute.
The plastic coin.
Cell phone.
And these ones were free, so can't complain there.
No, there you are.
All right, so we've started the recording. Welcome everybody to session 1 of Descent into Fernia, the Eberron's take on Descent into Avernus. So, to set the scene, we are starting out in Thaliost. Did everybody get the email with the map of Thaliost?
Mm-hmm. Although I already don't remember it.
You don't have it memorized? Look at this.
Did you really print it?
I printed it and the key and notes on this page.
Look, my
This
character
fucking
has an
nerd.
intelligence of 7. I am in character, not remembering
My character's very Jewish. I mean, they're a crafting person. That means I take notes. Many.
So the main things to take away is that Thaliost really is almost more fortification than city. It's surrounded by siege walls. It is purposely made to have as few entry points as possible. And those entry points that they do have are very easily closed off and defended, because this is a city that has changed hands several times over the last 100 years in war, and it has been a very contentious part of the whole nation of Corvair. And then additionally, because there are a large population of people whose families were originally from Aundair, who were originally the country that possessed Thalios. Since the country changed hands and is now under Thranish control, they've been kind of relegated into ghettos that are surrounded by peace walls, which are frequently closed at curfew, because it is meant to continue to limit interaction between Ondarian loyalists and the Thranish nationalists, which also creates a lot of problems because those people who aren't able to get back into the neighborhoods by curfew are locked out and usually jailed and fined pretty stiffly. Also, given the reputation of the Flames Hand, which is the organization that you belong to, a lot of those people often do end up being pretty roughed up or are extorted money to avoid any kind of jail time. Anyways, those that are fortunate enough to have some kind of amount worthy of a bribe. So the year is 1004. So it's been about 8 years since the event of the Day of Mourning. Or actually it's about 10 years, because Day of Mourning took place in 994. Then the Treaty of Thronehold was signed in 996. And then we're playing in 1004. Since the signing of the Treaty of Thronehold, King Borinal abdicated his throne, and Breland is now a democracy led by their parliament. When he stepped down, he made it his life's work to address the wrongs that could be addressed in the wake of the last war. And the one that was most significant for him was the contention around the city of Thaliost. Aundair wanted it back. Thrain refused to can do any kind of concessions or anything with regards to Thrain. And as a result, the city remains very tumultuous. So it's one of the most violent cities in Corvair as a result. But after a lot of work, King Bornal was actually able to broker an agreement between Thrain and Aundair that would see Thaliost return to Aundair governance. So that has created a lot of turmoil within Thaliost, because Thaliost is now largely made of Thrainish citizens. And obviously the Archbishop Solgar, where is it? Solgar Derisnu, he's not happy about this transition either. There's been a lot of Aundarian loyalists celebrating, and a lot of conflicts in the street between the Thrainish nationalists. In the last few days, King Borinal was to travel to Flamekeep, the capital of Thrain, along with Aundarian delegates, to hammer out what the transition would look like to complete this arrangement. Since that time, within the last day, things have really gotten to a boiling point in Thaliost. In fact, there was war horns going on, and all the city gates were closed. So Thaliost is effectively cut off from the rest of Corvair. There's not a whole lot of news or information as to why. There are some rumors that there was that some of those who were stationed on the wall, or who are happen to be in towers that would have been high enough to see over the wall, there was some flash of brilliant light to the north, but those reports have been unsubstantiated so far. So currently you guys are at the military barracks where you're stationed, which is in the north of Thaliost. And you guys are kind of in this situation where there's a lot of tension. There's a lot of tension between the citizens. There's a lot of tension regarding the reasons that Thaliost has gone on lockdown, and lots of mysteries, lots of rumors. So you guys have, in the last week especially, had it pretty rough in terms of with your patrols and the work that you do. Currently, at this moment, you happen to be on a small break, but are preparing for a patrol later this evening. Most of the patrols that have been going out, you guys have been doing like double time, mandatory overtime, or whatever the equivalent is for when, there are situations like this. But you have managed to get a small break in to get a breather while this is going on. So you guys are currently in the mess hall, where you guys are among some of your peers. So you're all present there. The mess hall, this is it's a stone building, but the inside, the walls are made of wood. So it's pretty pretty utilitarian. There's not a lot of decoration, but there are the one decoration that there are is there's pretty ornate candelabras that both jut from the wall and also hang from the ceiling, all in silver, engraved with designs that kind of envision flames going up the metal, and all of the candles that are burning with special wicks that make the light appear more of a whitish flame. Not quite silver, but it's kind of a mundane means of achieving a similar effect. So now is a chance for you guys to introduce your characters.
So how long have we been together?
For some of you, I believe some of you have not been here in Thalios long. Some of you have only been around for a year or so. Maybe others have been around longer. But you've all had some association with one another. You probably all have gone on patrol with one another. Normally patrols are done in pairs, and those pairs may be somewhat consistent, although there are rotations every so often, just to make sure that everybody gets a chance to work with everybody, and that's a way of breeding a kind of camaraderie. But lately, the patrols, because of the tension within the city, the groups are much larger. So you guys would all be going on patrol together potentially, because it's usually now teams of 6 traveling together, which is also a pretty intimidating thing to see if you're just a normal citizen going about your business in Thalios, and you're seeing what is essentially a military unit kind of walking down the street. So it's intentional show of force as a preventative measure ordered by the Knight Commander Alistair Marktaros.
So do we wear something that designates that? Is there something that makes us all match? Like hats or berets or bracelets or
A little
matching
sticker
boots?
with the badge on it.
So typically on patrols, there's at least one person that's carrying some kind of banner of and
Who says, and we're walking. We just
Person in the front has to have a New York accent. Hey, we're walking here.
It's a fist, a forward-facing fist that is on fire with silver flame.
Oh, we are so giving that to the monk.
And then also each of you, because of the conditions within Thalios, and because this is commonly referred to as a real shit gig, it's not something a whole lot of people volunteer for. Though there are people that volunteer because the Flames Hand does have a pretty historic reputation as being one of the premier military regimes within Thrainish history. And so it does draw some people for that, but for most people, they're not here by choice. So because of that, there is a bit of leeway in terms of the style of your dress and your armor, but at least in somewhere visibly you have to have this emblem emblazoned on either your armor or some garment that's clearly visible to mark you as a member of this the Flames Hand.
Okay. So you would all know my character. He's mostly overall human in appearance, although you can definitely see there's some orcish ancestry in his past. He tries to sort of kind of hide the fact that Lux is his mother, but he's not very bright, so he often forgets and so refers to her as mother. which is usually either a giveaway or there's some cougar style relationship going on. But you gather over time that she is his actual mother, she being a half orc. So he probably had a human father, but he doesn't necessarily talk about him so much. He is about 32 years old or in his early 30s. He did fight in the last war, although only at the tail end of it. And he did take part in a defense of Thalios at one point, which is why he pressured his mother to come and take this assignment again. Although he was in the Flame's Hand, before, he'll talk at length about how he didn't really believe when he first joined the Flame's Hand, and it was just a way to earn an income and to get a little prestige because they were so famous during the war. But then one day he was doing crowd control in Flamekeep, and he saw a service that was being headed by the head of the Church of the Silver Flame, this, at the time, 12 or 13-year-old girl, and he had an epiphany and realized the sacrifice of Tira Moran, binding a demon and giving up her life in the process, and the power of the Silver Flame to protect everyone. And in an instant, he went from unbeliever to believer, and then began to study the faith in more detail, discovering that he had a very strong connection to it. In fact, he wears, around his neck, there's a little heart-shaped pendant, a charm on a silver chain, and there are flickers of silver flame that dance around the sides of it as he wears it. When he takes it off, it stops, but it doesn't seem, they don't burn anything or anything like that. It's more or just a visual effect. And he's wise, but he's incredibly stupid. He's very dense. He doesn't remember anything you tell him. He probably doesn't know all of your names, even though he's known you all more than a year. And here's a picture of him.
You can really see the orc in the face. I like how you did that, Kurt.
What game did you make that in?
Black Desert Online.
Okay.
Yeah, that has a pretty robust character generator. You've used
Does.
that for a few characters.
Yeah. Shit. That looks really good.
All right, so that's Solomon. Who else would like to introduce their character next?
Alias is the outsider, very obviously. As outsider as you could possibly get. But he's a smooth talker. It's probably the reason why he avoids any beatings. And I don't know how observant one might be as far as his faith goes, but it's surface level at most. He has a pin, easy to remove pin that he can take off whenever he's off duty or whatever. He has a taste for the fine things. He's always keen to if there's something shiny that that person doesn't need, then he'll reclaim it, if you will.
So your character is like, because you're very clearly a drow, and in Corvair, that is a highly rare thing to be. So I imagine that, typically there's two kind of ideas or ways of doing things within the Silver Flame. There's the more progressive view, which is anyone is capable of being saved and being redeemed by the Silver Flame. And there's a more puritanical point of view where if you are a creature of corruption, you must be destroyed in service of the flame. So you're one of those people, I imagine, that kind of, even for the puritanicals, you manage to talk to them in a way that makes them think, oh, maybe there's something to this kind of thing.
Yeah. I probably the general story is in my home underground. I saw the light and I had to come to the surface and do all the great works for the Silver Flame. What's the I forgot? Do they have like a sort of thing, like peace be with you sort of thing?
Oh, I mean,
Actually, the Chicago Police Department, they just use a taser on you.
maybe like something like flame light your way, which sometimes might be shortened to flames light or something.
May the flame be with you.
Yeah, assuming you keep that ruse up, Solomon would love you.
There's a time and a place.
You might spend time ducking Solomon because he'd be so eager to come and discuss the faith with you more.
Oh, 100. Yeah, no, definitely.
So Solomon's been here for a few years. It sounds
I mean,
like.
I would imagine he hasn't been here. You know, he did once upon a time fight here in defense of the city before he was actually religious. But I wouldn't say he's been here that whole time. He was stationed here for a while. Presumably, when the war ended, they moved him around. They probably didn't figure they needed quite as many people here. At some point, he was assigned to Flames Keep, as that's where he had his religious awakening.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so then how long do you think Solomon's been here on his current tour? Let's say.
Probably a couple of years.
Okay. So you've been here a couple of years, so Peleus, how long has your character been here?
At most a month, as what I was imagining.
Okay, so you're really new then.
Mhm.
And so your character is really trying to get the hang of things. And probably to some extent, this is almost a shell-shocking experience to see people of a single city fighting amongst themselves.
Yeah, probably these fucking idiots. That's probably what's in his head, but he can't say that.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, flames light.
Yeah.
So
There's nothing else to say.
You might not have seen, but anybody who's been here longer probably would see that occasionally Solomon has this thing where a dragon mark tattoo just sort of floats up onto his neck or face as it just drifts slowly in straight lines across his body. And he doesn't necessarily know where it's going to be from day to day.
Okay.
And if it's on, it's not, there's nothing he can do about it. So if it transitions up onto his head, people are going to see it, but most of the time it's elsewhere.
I am very keen, so maybe I have seen it.
So who's next?
Yeah, I can go. I'm playing Alyssa, who is a pretty good-sized girl, and she is from Passage originally. She's been here about, if I can do mathematics, this should be her 5th month here. And she came here from Passage by trade. She was a cobbler. And she came here because her husband died in Passage, but he was originally from here. So she brought him back here to be buried. And he really loved the he loved everything about this, and he used to be part of the Flames Hands, and she thought, well, I should see what he loved about this city. This used to belong to her home country anyway. So for her, it's a kind of therapeutic thing coming here and being part of the Flame Hands, and she really wants to help and see what she can do for everyone here.
Wait, so your husband was Thrainish and you're Ondarian?
Correct. They met after the war.
Is it common knowledge that you're originally from Ondare?
I don't think she'd do anything to hide it.
Okay. So that would make things a bit
Exciting.
difficult for you, potentially.
Oh, I'm expecting full racism at some point.
Yeah, but especially now in the days leading up to the potential transition of Thalios returning to Ondare.
Yep.
There's probably a lot of people that are looking at you with...
Oh, I'm hated by both sides.
Yeah.
Everyone hates me.
I don't care.
You're lying. I know
Yeah,
how you really feel.
Peleus might be...
My only friend. Just like in real life.
Although it sounds like if you're truly devoted to the Silver Flame, Solomon would probably be welcoming towards you as well.
Yeah, she's devoted to it, but she's still very much learning about it.
Oh, Solomon would love you too. Although a lot of the information he imparts will be wrong.
You just gotta read
the
between
letter,
the lines.
I imagine the letter of it will be wrong, but the underlying message and teachings will somehow be there.
Yeah, you
Right.
just gotta listen for the metaphors and the.
And then there were 40 days of lightning storms, and everything caught on fire except for this guy named Noel, who saved all the animals.
Mm-hmm.
I really look forward to all of your bad religious texts, which are just wrong. And so that's the major things about her for now. Also, she wears heavy armor. She doesn't like being hurt.
Nobody likes being hurt.
Solomon also wears chainmail.
Yay!
I just avoid getting hurt.
We're like family now, Solomon.
All right. Peter or Shay, which one of you guys want to go next? Shay, let's hear from you.
You do have a two-sided die, right?
I do have a two-sided die, but I'll just go.
Fight
Because
for
then
it,
I
you
can
gotta
easily
flip.
lie and say that I won the toss, but whatever. All right, yeah, so I will go. Lesis is fairly new here. She's been here about 4 months. She came from the Eldine Reaches on her Rumspriga, exploring the world. She is intrigued by the religious folk here and is just having the time of her life, other than the excessive violence that seems to be going on around her.
Look past that.
It's a feature.
But past that, there's some really cool stuff here that they didn't have at home, at least.
Agreed.
All right.
So what does
Anything
she-
else that we should know about your character?
I'm curious to know, what does she look like? Like, does she look like she's from the Eldine Reaches, or is she...
She is kind of slender, tall, a teenager, amber eyes, brown hair.
Like an
So-
attractive
She-
Marilyn Monroe.
Is she dressed, though, like I would imagine a druid, or is she dressed more like a soldier?
She wears like the soldier type armor with her normal clothes on under it, so her clothes are more like druid clothing, but she has kind of donned the armor of the area.
You give her cast off armor.
Yep, give her the armor with the straps that you just throw it off. Yeah, Velcro, whatever.
So do you talk about your faith at all?
Not a lot.
Solomon hates you.
I have too low of a charisma to pretend that I believe any of this.
I would say Solomon probably would love you too because he can save you. It may take time.
No, he's one of those. Every time we go out of control, it takes 5 times as long because Solomon's just knocking on every damn door.
I can't wait to get to hell. See what he does there.
Excuse me,
man.
Satan, have you been saved?
He's going to
The
try to
devil-
convert everyone in hell. That'll be great.
The devil is just a sick angel.
sick angel.
Oh man, that's a sick angel, dude.
It's got flames.
Dude.
All right. So that's interesting for Lacis, with her being so young, and being on this kind of Rumspringa type journey. How did she inspire enough confidence within the hierarchy of the church to be trusted in a role of some kind of peacekeeper?
It was probably semi-accidental.
Lots of alcohol.
Lots of alcohol.
Okay.
Hey, it's easy to join another cult when you've already been part of one cult, right? So
I don't think people think of this anyway. Well, people in the cult don't think they're in a cult, right?
Exactly.
She doesn't know it's a cult that she was in before, and she doesn't know that this new thing is a cult. It just feels like home with this nice hierarchy system.
And she probably didn't come up and say, "Can I join your cult?"
And Solomon was like, yes!
There was
will
just
teach
this
you.
really charismatic preacher dude, and she's like, hey, he's really into this. I want to check this out.
So maybe you had a mentor that was willing to vouch for you. You happened to just make that instant connection with somebody, and then they recommended you to the position, and then now you're here.
See, and that's interesting because they don't necessarily have to be super religious. They could be, on the more corrupt side,
Yeah.
if you wanted, or they could be super religious.
It could be either, and she may never know.
But you could be like the drinking buddy of somebody.
She is the 5th columnist here.
So I'm curious, being a druid who's used to a more agrarian lifestyle, what's it like coming into a city, and especially a city as tumultuous as Thalios?
The city is a weird enough experience without throwing in the constant fighting. It's a little overwhelming at times.
I mean, I don't think it's too hard to believe. I mean, they have whole reality shows based on the Amish going on their thing. So
Yeah.
Oh, I'm not questioning the believability of it. I was
There's a
just
reason
wondering
most of the
for
Amish go back.
I was
Yeah.
just wondering for Lacis's perspective, how does her character kind of experience that?
Yeah. It's definitely kind of overwhelming, but there are some of the alcohols and things that they did not have at home that she is very fond of.
I'm
And
okay
there's
with the
some
magic and
intriguing
devils.
people.
I was going to say, I'm okay with the magic and devils, but an Amish person in the city.
That's just taking it too far right there.
Okay. So Lux.
Yes, Lux is half orc. You could tell that she is probably mid-60s. she's got more age spots now than she does scars. Probably one time she was a decent fighter, but she's kind of fallen to the side as far as like she can't wield a sword and do all the stuff that some of these other people can do. So she is now training with Day Cardine, who is who's our mentor to learn the ways of the monk. You probably would have seen her at the tavern as like a barmaid and the bouncer and the bus girl and all in one, like maybe throwing some drunk soldier out the door. She finally got on the patrol because nobody wants to carry the damn banner. So she decided she would carry it, even though she's got 9 strength. But once that our boss saw her use it as an improvised weapon, he likes for her to carry that.
The power of the flame compels you. Bam!
She kind of cringes every time that Solomon calls her mother. You
Leave the
probably
goddamn
will
mess,
find her
Solomon.
like
Because she's
meditating.
disappointed in him?
Also, you notice that she has paint supplies, but she is not a proficient painter, and she randomly paints stuff. It almost looks like graffiti.
That's another reference to the other game for Shay and Tony.
And she likes her ganja weed. So
Okay. So how long has Lux been serving with the Flames Hand?
it was probably in some capacity, probably like 10 or 15 years as kind of like just a worker, not really. She hasn't been doing patrols that long. She's been kind of like working for them.
Okay. So we're more kind of a support role until
Recently when
okay. So I will say with people who are assigned to Thalios, typically they do live in the barracks. But for those who are here long enough, they and have over time earned enough money, because typically living in the barracks, you have all of your needs met. But you're also getting your monthly commission and everything for your service. So there are people that just decide to save that money, and those who are here longer may decide to rent a home outside of the barracks, or even purchase property in Thalios. It doesn't sound like any for Alyssa, Lacis, or Paelius that may have been the case, but perhaps Solomon and Lux might have had that opportunity. Have they decided to live off campus? So
no,
to
she
speak?
lives in the barracks, but she's rarely there. She usually will, if it's not too cold or whatever, she'll sleep outside.
Do they offer BAH?
What's BAH?
Basic
Listen.
allowance for housing?
Yeah, it's an army joke.
Oh. What about Solomon? Has
I would
Solomon ever
also-
thought about that?
I would also be in the barracks.
Okay.
More
Are
time
you
to
there because
preach.
you want to be, or are you there because you don't want to leave your mother?
I
Okay.
mean, if she's already there, that is one reason to stay. But also because, I mean, I guess I heard someone said we're earning a lot of overtime recently, so maybe he'll suddenly come into money. But I imagine that Paelius is probably stealing it, and my character just can't figure out where his money is going.
I'm,
Yep.
How many pay to make that cannon? How much coin do I get?
5 copper.
All right. So as I said, you guys are currently in the mess hall. You have a lot of your peers and colleagues also in the mess hall with you, and you're hearing people mentioning the rumors of the Flash to the north, and then also there's some fears because this also is very close, only 2 days from the 10th anniversary of the day of mourning. So there are people that are worried. Has a new war started? Did something happen? So there's a lot of tension and fear even within your ranks. So you guys are currently sitting down around a table. I imagine that you're all sitting together.
How crowded is the mess hall?
There's probably about a dozen other individuals in there with you guys at this time.
Is it cramped though?
It's not too cramped. Most people are actually out on patrol right now. The mess hall can probably normally seat 3 times as many people at one time comfortably.
Okay. So you would know from with Lux that if the mess hall or some place is crowded, she leaves immediately. So the fact that it's kind of there's not too many people in here, she'll stay in there.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
Solomon would be eating, but also telling people not to really worry about rumors. That they are always too numerous and always too wrong to be relied upon.
Question: is there rationing going on in the city right now with all the weird things happening?
Not
Food and
yet.
water becoming scarce? No.
Not yet. But if things, I mean, between the tensions that we're already building and then what's going on now, that may not be too far off in the future.
Okay.
Thalios, as I said before, it's built more like a military fort than it is a city at this point.
Mhm.
And so there have been a lot of preparations for sieges and things like that. So there's no fear of them running out of supplies, but there certainly would be rationing, especially for the poor.
Yeah, I noticed there's not a lot of farmland around it on the map, so that means everything has to be imported or brought in or fished.
Mm-hmm.
Are we waiting for something?
Well, you guys are kind of in between patrols right now.
Right.
So I was kind of thinking that this could be an opportunity for your characters to kind of interact and maybe talk to one another, get to know one another a little bit better.
I imagine Pyelius is bullshitting with a couple people at a table and doing the whole bishop thing from Aliens, the knife, and really freaking some guy out.
Doing it to yourself or doing it like Bishop did with his hand over theirs?
Doing it like Bishop did, yeah.
So yeah, you would have a very Bill Paxton-esque response to that. But I imagine that this is a trick that you've done before.
Yeah, totally.
So maybe you're doing this to one of the newbies, and some of the people that are kind of familiar, they might be taking bets. And it might be like a bet on whether or not you actually nick the dude, whether you nick yourself, whether he like how badly he breaks down in fear.
Does he piss himself?
Right. So there's probably a lot of side bets going on in terms of how is this guy going to respond.
Yep, and I get a portion of that. This is the rules.
By the way, he actually responds fairly well. He doesn't freak out as much as others have freaked out.
Shouldn't this be a contested roll? Let me do an intimidation.
All right, go for it. Roll. What's your intimidate?
Just
Let's
start
see here.
spinning the dagger in circles as he's doing it.
21.
Okay, yeah, he's on the verge of tears. You can see he started out with a tough look to him, but then
Start
as
getting
you
faster and faster and faster.
Yep. And speaking of the person who is in tears,
Whoa!
He made it. He got a ride.
what happened, man?
How's your leg?
Fuck, man. It's a story, man. All right. Well, the TLDR is that someone reversed over my bike while it was parked, and the handlebar is clean snapped off. The left mirror clean snapped off. Indicators are all fucky. The bloody and there's like pretty serious like aesthetic damage to the chassis as well. And it's pretty fucked. Yeah.
I'm sorry,
Bicycle or
that's
motorcycle?
It was a hire song 2001. It was a new one. I just bought it on Sunday.
Yep.
Did they just take off? Did anybody see it or what?
Yeah, no, we got it all. There was like an older lady who came up and was like, "Yeah, I ran over your bike."
Well,
Sorry.
Well,
I'm like, all right.
did she
Well,
follow it up with, what are you fucking going to do about it?
It was so bad, dude. And I'm like, all right, well, I'm gonna need your details and all that kind of shit. And like, so the long-winded version is I was at like Queensland Transport, which is like the RMS or like the registration kind of place for cars and stuff like that here in Australia. And I was trying to get my license transferred like overstate because I've moved state recently. And also I was trying to get the bike registered into my name. Now, the bike isn't registered in my name because they didn't provide a safety certificate with the bike when they sold it to me. So I've bought a bike which isn't mine and is now written off. So
Does anybody get insurance on that?
So the other person has got full compo insurance, so they're fully liable for whatever happens. But the thing is that the bike isn't technically owned by me because it didn't because there's a legal requirement to provide the safety certificate with the bike when they sell it, and they didn't. So it's not my bike.
Right.
Wait,
Yeah.
so how?
Whose bike is it then?
It's the other guy's bike, the guy who I bought it from.
So he's just got money.
So I don't know your legal system, but in
Yep,
the
yep,
US, in the US, you should be able to go back to him and say, look, you need to file a claim and give me that money. And if he says, well, I'm just going to keep the money, under US law, you would have a claim against him, even though the safety certificate was it.
That's what when I was talking to the Queensland Transport people in there, because I was literally sitting with them when the bike got hit, and and they were like, they're telling me all about like what things I need to do and what I need to provide to like insurance companies and stuff. So that's sweet. But this afternoon I'm going to be a busy boy heading back up to the other end of Townsville to bloody take the bike back. So, and it's all fucking
Yeah, there you go.
up.
You just got it Sunday. Return it. Take it back to
That's
him.
right.
Demand your money back.
I want a refund. It doesn't go.
I don't know what happened. It was just sitting in my parking lot and then boom, it exploded.
I need a
Hey, this thing's
refund.
defective.
No wonder you didn't give me a safety certificate. What a death trap.
It's unsafe at any speed, even parked. What is this?
So I just got back from the bike being towed here because my mate, he works in the army, so he doesn't get out until like way later this afternoon. And because it was in a public car park, there was no liability to the people if the bike got hit again, essentially. So I had to call a tow truck and bring it back here, and it is fucking hot outside, dude.
Just imagine the grandmother comes back. You think I'm going to pay for this, you little shit? And she just got a baseball bat smashing the bike to pieces.
Shit, dude.
But now you're back in the air-conditioned basement, right?
Oh yes,
So-
yes.
so at least it's
gonna
cold
be.
now.
I'll be wearing I'll be wearing the covers soon because it gets too cold in here.
And you were just sweating, so it's going to be even colder.
So,
Oh yeah.
so this is a process that I imagine is going to take time. And
Yep,
in the
and I have
meantime, you have
uni
no
next week.
bike.
Yeah. I was meant to go to uni today, so after the RMS, I was planning on going to like the seminar, which was at the uni, to like because I have no idea, I've never been there before, so take a tour and all and all that stuff, and yeah, nah, that's not happening. It didn't get that far. Yeah,
This is karma for you planting explosives on all those people.
I think so.
Yeah, it is awful though. I'm sorry to
Yeah.
hear about your
well,
bike.
it's just 2 in a row now. It's such a horrible record.
Yeah, when you first sent that email, I imagined the scene from Terminator 2 when the Terminator lifts John Connor off his bike and then it gets sent right under the wheels of a 16-wheeler. I imagine that's your bike.
It
when you
got
said that.
so they reversed into it and then just kept going and it fell over. So the back of the bike like is all pretty wobbly looking as well. So
I think we hit something. Let's go forward and see if we did.
and that, yeah. So here we are.
Yep.
All right, so Dr.
Yeah, what's
Sheev.
going on?
So I'm scaring the piss out of some guy.
Yeah, I thought it was Dr. Sheev.
Dr. Sheev.
He's a
we just as a kind of summary,
Mhm.
within the last couple of days, tensions are really high because Thalios is possibly going to transition back into the hands of Ondare based on a diplomatic mission by the former King Borinal. So things have already been tense, but then all of a sudden now the city is on lockdown, and nobody really knows why. And there are rumors that something happened to the north. Some people are claiming to have seen a flash of bright light. And it's also tense because it's almost to the day 10 years since the day of mourning. So you are part of this military unit currently in the barracks in the mess hall with your peers. We have Lux, the orc monk, Solomon Farr, who is our cleric, human cleric, Alyssa, who is a human fighter, or apparently human,
half giant, half
Peleus.
human.
Peleus, who is a drow rogue, and then we have Lasis, who is a Kalishtar druid.
What's a Kellistar?
Imagine
And out of character.
So in character, you probably wouldn't know too much about what a Kalishtar is. I mean, they're from what you've probably heard is they have some like really they're part of some cultural offshoot of humans, originally from Sarlona, which is a continent which is supposedly the birthplace of all humanity. But in terms of in-game, think of kind of a psionic type human.
Okay.
They sort of share a soul with a creature from the land of dreams,
All right.
or at least a portion.
Sullivan photo. Oh yeah, you got your picture. Nice. Hell
Tass-
yeah.
Tacitus was a college star, by the way.
Yes.
Was he?
Oh, okay. Wow, didn't know that.
It happened like partway through the game because it wasn't out at first, and then it came out. And I'm like, oh, this is perfect. This is exactly what I thought of whenever I was making this character.
So Tacitus wasn't necessarily originally aware of his Kalistar heritage.
Yeah.
Which can happen.
Right.
So, Brendan, tell us who's Dr. Sheev.
Okay, so this is Dr. Sheev. Can you see it? Did it pop up?
Yeah.
Yep.
Ah, yeah.
Does it need to be bigger? There it
Open
is.
out.
Good.
Yeah, he's larger than life already.
Yeah, that's Dr. Sheev. He is he's a artificer human, obviously heavily scarred, and has a lot of containers holding different kinds of goop and weird experiments and stuff, which he's got all labeled and all signed up, all ready to go for whatever he's planning on using them for. So that's the rundown on Dr. Sheev.
Is that a prosthetic hand?
Oh, was it? No, that's just a hand guard because I've got burns and scars all over my hands and stuff.
Okay.
There should be fingers, but there's not.
So how long has Dr. Sheev been a part of the Flames hand?
So after the Great War, he would have come to work with the Flames Hand as like a traveling doctor to begin with, and then he was looking for more for a better tenure so he could do more experiments and expeditions out into the Mournlands.
So he's kind of using this position as a way of boosting the signal on his.
Yeah, because Dr. Sheev before the Flames Hand used to work for House Jurasco, which is like the healing halflings. Yeah, and he was like working with an experimental sect within them, and where they would heal a lot of people using Mournland properties and natural resources from inside there. And now that that experimental sect has sort of been told to stop doing their medicine, he has to now work somewhere else and is now working with the Flames Hand to try and get some more prestige, I guess, and some money.
So I may have missed it. Is he a halfling?
No, he's a human.
Human.
Yeah. So yeah, he was just working with House Jurasco as like an assistant. He wasn't dragon marked or anything. Yeah, he came from Karnath. So when they left the was it the Tilani Plains or wherever they came from, which is to the south? Talenta Plains, which is the south. When they traveled through, he followed suit with them during the Great War.
Solomon, how do you feel about him?
How much do you talk about wanting to study the Mournlands, and you're from Karnath? Do you have like a love for Karnath?
No, I don't. I'm just a traveler, technically. I don't really care for Karnath. But talking about the Mournlands and doing experiments, well, they'd be all labeled all over his experiments and stuff like that. So you would know about it.
Solomon is then guarded, hopeful that you can be converted to the Silver Flame, which you don't talk about nearly enough. But he's unsure about a Karnathi who's a little too interested in the Mournland.
Yeah. And I imagine if Solomon talks to Dr. Sheev and Dr. Sheev starts talking about his research, I think Solomon's eyes probably glaze over.
Oh, yeah. There's no way he would understand your research. He just knows the Mournlands are bad.
Yes, there's no need to worry about the technicalities and apexes and all that, but we should be fine. We should get along just fine, Solomon.
How long have you been in Thalios?
So I would say, so the Great War was ended 994, right?
996
96.
was the signing of
996.
the Treaty of Thronehold.
And
Although
today
most
is
battles stopped at 994 after the day of mourning. There were a couple of other skirmishes after that, but
It's
the
8
fighting
years after the
largely
treaty,
stopped.
10 years
8
after
years
the
up.
war.
Okay, yeah, cool. So I would have been here for the last, like, I'd say 2 years, because I've been given permission from Flame Keep to do one expedition, which ended horribly wrong. And so I've been here long enough for them to know that I have a pretty bad track record.
So you've
Which
been here
might
about
be.
as
I'm sorry, go ahead, Kurt.
I was going to say you've been here about as long as Solomon has,
Hmm.
because he's been here a couple of years as well. He chose this posting because he had been here before and he knew that there was just trouble here. My question is, from the last session, have you been conducting experiments on people? And have you been hiding it if you have been?
I would be hiding it because I'd be like taking DNA samples, and my dagger is being reclassed as a syringe, so that is my that's one of my primary weapons. So yes, I would be conducting experiments, but not like openly, especially when I've been doing it on the migrants, which have just recently was it
Right.
The
Underarian
Underarian loyalists.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
you're
you
one of
would-
those corrupt assholes that really takes advantage of the people that you come across who are out after curfew and all that shit.
Yes.
You would know that Solomon is pretty straightforward, and he is actually here to protect people. So he would not react well to hearing. He doesn't react well to corruption. I imagine he's actually not super popular amongst whole segments of the Flames Hand, because he's amongst those people who would report back that, oh yeah, so and so accepting bribes.
Just don't ask about why Solomon now has 6 fingers on his right hand.
Yeah. I don't think taking DNA samples is bribes, Solomon.
Not necessarily you, but there are other corrupt officials.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Yeah, you would
Mike
be.
was
I
telling
think
me.
he's secretly murdering people.
Not a bribe, it's a veiled threat.
Yeah,
There's a
I'm willing to
difference.
say. I'm willing to say you've been able to conceal it from him thus far.
It wouldn't be too hard.
I don't know. He has a passive perception of 17.
Oh boy.
Well, he's very he sees him doing something, but he doesn't know what he's doing, and just assumes
Right,
like
I
it's
see
a
him-
tramp
I
stamp
see
or
him.
something.
Jabbing people with needles, but I don't necessarily know what that does to them.
It's a vaccine.
But if you jab them, right? If you jab them with needles and they proceed to dissolve instantly in front of my eyes, that might be a little hard.
Vaccines cause disintegration.
Demolecularization.
So the interesting thing is that because of the way that the patrols have worked up until recently, only 2 people would be on patrol at any given time, and usually there are some rotations, but everybody except Lux, Solomon, and Dr. Sheev are fairly new. So while you guys might know each other in passing, you may not know each other very well, but probably Solomon, Dr. Sheev, and Lux are pretty familiar with one another. And Dr. Sheev and Solomon might even have gone on patrol once before together for a period of time.
But I would say his reputation for being essentially a goody two-shoes is probably strong enough that you would have heard it. You would also know, because you've been around for 2 years, that he has a dragon mark that just floats freely around his body.
Oh.
So he might be you might be interested in conducting tests on him too, for that matter.
Yeah, but that'd be an interesting thing to see. How does this dragon mark work?
How does this react to this Mornlands juice?
That's just what all his vials say. Mornland juice.
Mornland Juice 1, Mornland Juice 2, Mornland Juice 3.
Mornland juice diet. Mornland
Crystal-
juice vanilla.
Crystal Moreland juice.
You
Super
come up to
dangerous Moreland juice. Do not touch.
I can just see
Code
you
red.
going up to Solomon and seeing the dragon mark and going, "Oh, we gotta trying to wipe it off him."
Right.
You got to think.
All right. So did oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, I assume my mother is probably amongst those interested in talking about the rumors, since she has like a separate job at a bar.
Yeah, so Lux, you've probably heard the most rumors. You've likely heard not only about the Flash, but also that the Scion's Liberation Front is said to be really invested in making sure that this transition happens between Thalios back to Ondair. And you've heard that they may be having plans if that doesn't happen to make those in power regret it. You haven't heard specifics or anything, but you've heard probably people speculating over beers, or maybe people having few too many beers and loosening their lips a bit, but not enough to get any kind of actionable intel, but stuff to really kind of raise your ears a bit.
Okay.
Now, do we know what time patrol is going to be for us next? Because we're just on break right now.
Yeah, so you're set to start patrol in about an hour.
Okay.
But before that, you guys hear a war horn, and then actually all of the candles in the place flare up, and they split off from the candles and kind of coalesce into the middle of the room, creating a large silver flame in the image of Knight Commander Alistair Marktaros. And it's him, and this is something that you guys are all aware of but have never actually seen.
Okay.
That this is kind of an emergency notification system that they have set up, and even Lux, in the years that you've been here, and Solomon, since the end of the war, you've never seen this actually be used. It might have been used prior to the end of the war, but never since. And it's essentially it's Knight Commander Marktaros stating that everybody, every able-bodied soldier must report to the north wall immediately.
So I would immediately leap up and run back to collect my gear.
Yeah,
Well-
just time to put on armor.
Yep.
Looks like it's go time, everyone.
So I've just now finished salting my food.
Sorry it took so long to cook it for you.
Take one bite and pick up the banner. And you can hear the bones creak and crack as I get up and start making my way.
Dr. Sheev sort of like stands there for a second and he's like, I guess I'm a soldier. It might be, someone might need a patch job. And he walks out.
Time to
And
start
once everyone's sort of gathered up, I assume we would all leave at once. I probably would say, I will lead with blade and boot. You take care of the details. And then start hustling everyone towards the door.
Wait, not to, oh, never mind. Let me put this. Oh, okay, I got my shield on. Okay, let's go.
No worries. I'll close the door on my way out.
Don't forget to lock.
All right, so you guys head out, and you are greeted by the very crisp late afternoon air. It's probably about just around freezing. There appears to be a light mist kind of crawling along the ground, but the sky is relatively clear. And while the cold is crisp, there's only a light breeze, so it's not too uncomfortable. It's not like razor blades in your face, but it's pretty nippy. So you guys head to the north wall. There are a set of stairs that you can enter the wall and then climb to the top of it, as others are kind of doing, and the various commanders are directing you to do. And once you reach the top, you see just outside the city gates, where you're standing kind of on the wall above the city gates, and you see out before you a large crowd of people, probably 200-300 people, gathered outside the city.
Banners or
Do they
No
look
banners
like?
or
Do they look like they're armed and armored, or are they just?
army or local folk?
it doesn't look like an army. It's very disorganized.
Pitchforks?
No pitchforks. It looks like, but it does look like if you look closely, a lot of the people do seem to be weary, dirty. Lots of them seem to be covered in soot. And they're crying and asking to be let into the city. If you listen closely, you can hear some of them claim they're from Flame Keep. Some of them seem to be yelling about some kind of disaster. You see that there is kind of a contingent of individuals that had difficulty making the trip. So there's a number of them that are injured, but they're kind of concentrated in one area. It seems like a lot of the able-bodied ones helped these people make the trip, and now they've kind of created a makeshift medical area.
How tall is the walls?
Wall is probably about 50 feet tall.
Okay. So to see this group, we would have to like walk up on the wall and see them, or is there like a gate that you're looking
No,
through?
you're on top of the wall, because the way
Okay.
that the wall with Thaliost was built, it was built to withstand a siege, and so once the doors are closed, there's no way to allow individuals in or out. They don't have the smaller doors that allow access or anything like that. It's completely closed.
Okay,
And
so
are
we're
the
up on the
gates
wall looking
closed?
down.
Yeah. I'm sorry?
Are the gates closed?
Yes, they are.
Are there
They've
torches
been closed
on the wall?
for almost a day now.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Are there torches on the wall? Like,
Yeah, you could easily find a torch.
Is it middle of the day or what time of day is it?
It's late afternoon, getting towards evening. You can see the sun is kind of probably about an hour away from setting, from starting to set.
How many other people are with us on the wall? Everybody?
you have about so the dozen individuals that were with you are there, and then there's a couple of others, including Captain Zaj, who is the captain of your specific barracks.
Well, I'd be
And
looking at him, waiting to see what happens next.
I would go up to Captain Zach and say, what can we do to help these people?
Well, we're trying to assess the situation right now, but we do need boots on the ground to see what's been going on. So we're making arrangements for ladders to be lowered, but we need to be careful. We don't want to allow any of them in either. So we're actually looking for individuals who are willing to volunteer to go down.
Oh, I'm sure my whole unit will volunteer to go down.
Perfect.
Yes.
And then I would look over the wall and say, several of these people do not look like they could climb up a ladder. So if we are going to let them into the city, we will have to open the gate.
Well, we're making that determination whether or not we will let them in. But for now, we have to protect the city.
Yes, so
So-
we have no idea what is even on these people. What is that ash? I'll have to go check.
Well, I would look over again and then say, well, could we at least marshal a collection of spare tents or something that they can use for shelter?
Yes, supplies are actually being brought as we speak, but we need to be careful. We don't want to assume that we will be providing these individuals anything at this time. We need to accurately assess the information before we move on it. And then with that, several people bring a kind of rope ladder, and they start lowering them. There's also individuals who are knocking arrows in case any of them down below attempt to make any kind of aggressive move or try to climb the ropes. But it seems like so far the people down there are just kind of clearing away. So if you guys are ready, you can start going down.
Sure, into the zombie horde I go.
I also start climbing down.
I'd follow behind. I would hand one of my backpacks full of alchemical gear to somebody as I go down the ladder.
I think I can handle it.
I was gonna say I would grab it.
We'll fight for it.
But would he give it back?
Uh-oh.
Yeah, I'll give it back.
Klepto.
Not necessarily with anything in it, but he'll give the
Yeah.
backpack back.
Sure, I can find a non-essential. Mornland juice number 3.
Drink it. Drink it.
Got to make it through 1 and 2 first.
Diet Mornland juice.
Yeah, I don't think you want to
Juice with
open that
lemon.
one.
All right, so you guys all make it to the ground. You're seeing now, with everybody more up close, there's kind of like a circle of people, like they've kind of backed off, but they're all looking very beat up. A lot of them are wearing torn clothing, and they're all covered in soot or ash. You can see some of them actually seem to have some burnt clothing. Others actually have some minor burns on their flesh.
Okay, so kicking their ass probably won't be a problem.
Well, let's see if they've been playing with cannons first. They might just be a whole army in disguise. And
Do they have any armor?
I walk up to one which has a bunch of ash on them and scoop it up.
Testing for gunpowder residue.
Yeah.
Am
You
I
gonna taste it?
Yep.
Am I carrying that banner? Do I have to bring the banner with me?
Yep, it's tied to your back.
I'm just gonna drop it down and climb down.
Yeah.
You're dropping down the Mornland juice.
Yeah. So Lux is probably the last one to go down the ladder with the banner.
We just put it in the back of your shirt. You can't reach it and get it out or anything.
I mean, in this situation, Lux, you wouldn't need to carry the banner. You're
Okay, if
certainly
I don't need
welcome
to.
Now
I'm
you
just
shut
going
your
to.
damn mouth, DM. He's carrying the goddamn banner. Okay. And he's gonna like it.
Yeah, Lux doesn't have to carry the banner.
Okay. Yeah. If the captain, what's his nose, isn't going to make me carry him.
Captain Zodge is much more concerned with the people out there.
Your mother shirking from her duty, Solomon. Are you going to accept that?
So once you guys have been down on the ground for a minute, you'll see, or some of them will start to say, "Help us! Let us in! Flamekeep is gone! Is gone!"
Calm down, everyone. The Silver Flame will make sure that you are okay in the end, although there will be a process, as there always is. We will be providing you with what you need to survive, and I am sure all of you will be taken in as refugees. Now,
No,
tell
the
me.
Silver Flame, it's gone! The whole thing, it's gone! You hear one of them, like, he kind of steps forward, and he looks like he's really starting to lose it.
You should have brought the banner.
Tell me, what has happened at Flamekeep?
It's not there anymore.
The whole city.
Everything is there, and then somebody else says, "It erupted in flame. It's a flaming crater now. The whole thing."
So is it there or is it on fire?
No, it's gone.
I'm gonna find somebody who looks wounded and reach out and cast close wounds to see if I can help heal them, to see if I can still feel my connection to the Silver Flame.
Yeah, you can still feel your connection to the Silver Flame. And the person says, "Thank you. That was so painful."
The Silver Flame is eternal. Its light will always burn. If something has happened to Flamekeep, that is potentially a tragedy, but the Silver Flame will still see you safe in the end. We just need patience and as much detail as you can provide on what you have seen.
Yes, it's probably still burning the entire city.
Were you in the city when this happened, or did it occur when you were outside of it?
Oh, everybody here, we were lucky to be outside the city as it happened. 1 minute it's there, and suddenly there's this citywide fireball. It enveloped everything, and then suddenly it's gone. It's a crater, but it's on fire, and it's not like the Silver Flame fire. It's burning red hot fire.
That's right, because fire's usually red.
Did you happen to see where the epicenter was of the explosion?
No, I didn't see it. Maybe someone else saw it. Did anybody else see? And you just get a bunch of people saying it just blew up. It looked like it exploded.
Did you see what direction it might have come from? Dr. Sheep says with like a weird smirk, thinking of the Mornlands.
What do you mean? What direction?
Well, did it come from the east, perchance?
It just exploded. Are you guys gonna let us in? We need help. They're injured among us. We need to get them in.
Yes, all of the injured. I will begin making my way around to see what I can do for them. We will be providing you with what you need to survive. I am sure in the end they will let you in, but these are dangerous times, and they will take some care in making sure they understand the situation before they open the gates. As I say, please be patient with us, and you will be cared for. And as they talk, I am going to start going around, triaging sort of, but mostly just dealing with whoever looks worse that I can see in my immediate vicinity.
Okay.
I will also need to take a sample of your blood because you might be infected. So I'll need that.
Say
you
that
heard of
quietly. You
Corona?
do not want to incite a riot.
Well, they might be infected. It's a good question.
Infected?
We
What are you
should
talking
test.
about, infected?
With
Well,
what?
maybe
There
that
we
was
go.
an infectious fireball.
Paelius
Could
is
have come from the Mournlands.
Paelius is going to start walking towards the ladder.
Yeah. Have you heard of Corona?
So just to give you guys an idea of the significance of this event, this would be akin to somebody telling you that the Vatican was just nuked. In terms of the level of potential distress that this could have on your characters if you're truly worshipers, and also why they are so distraught.
Hang on.
I mean, Solomon doesn't necessarily, he's not necessarily sure that they're accurately reporting this. But from his perspective, it's like the Vatican and Jerusalem rolled up into one.
Yeah. So Solomon, as you're going around trying to triage people and use what you can to bring people comfort and everything and treat their wounds, you see one old man who is laying on his back, and you see that he has a pretty bad burn on half of his face. And when I say old, he appears to be maybe 70. And you feel like this person is familiar to you, but you can't quite place it. And then as you're kind of looking over him, he suddenly looks to you and grabs your hand, and you notice with like sudden shock, this is not just anybody. This is Cardinal Crozen. And Cardinal Crozen, just to give you kind of an idea of who he is often thought to be next in line for Speaker of the Flame after Jayla.
So he actually, given who he is, he will merit not a cantrip. I will actually cast Healing Word on him because I don't have Cure Wounds prepared. And he gets back 6 hit points. And then I guess I would call over Paelius. Paella, come here.
And then he also, as you heal him, you see a look of relief across his face, but then he looks at you and he goes, "Shh."
We must get you inside the city. We will tend to everyone here, of course, but obviously people will want to hear your account firsthand.
And he says in kind of a croak of a voice, "Yes, I need to speak with Solgar. I have much that he needs to know."
Paella, come here.
I start walking. Paelius, but yes, go ahead.
My apologies. And I would whisper this to you. I need you to go back up the ladder and tell them that Cardinal Crozen is here and he is badly injured.
Who's that?
And that he is one of the top cardinals in the Church of the Silver Flame. And he
Oh,
needs
right, of
to
course.
speak. He needs to speak to someone. Who did you need to speak to?
So, Solgar. Archbishop Solgar Dersnu. He's the, think of him as the mayor and spiritual head of Thalios.
Yes, that guy, what he said.
So this guy is Cardinal, what was it again?
Crozen.
Crozen needs to speak with, what was it?
Solgar.
Archbishop Solgar Dersnu.
Solzar Dersnu.
That's
Soulsy.
some great account keeping right there.
Alrighty. And I'll turn and flame light your way, and just and then weave my way back to the ladder efficiently.
Now, Solomon, you might notice, but you might not put two and two together. He doesn't dress. His dress doesn't indicate him like a person of his typical position. He seems to be dressed much more commonly. But however Solomon might interpret that, it's up to you.
I mean, I honestly would assume, given the crowd that he's in, that he was probably outside Flamekeep when whatever it is that happened. And how far away is Flamekeep? Like, how long would it take people to walk? Not even counting the fact that they're injured among them.
Well,
In
there's a
meters.
the handy dandy Everon wiki will tell us exactly.
Seems a fair distance.
Yeah.
Oh
My-
wow.
My point would have been that
couple hundred miles or something.
right, however long it's been, it's long enough that he probably didn't want to do it in like full cardinal regalia.
Mhm.
So probably like the jeweled hats and everything else that he normally wears got dropped somewhere along the way, especially given his state. And maybe he's just kind of in disguise. Again, I don't know what happened to Flamekeep.
Right. So I must have missed how far Flamekeep is from Thalios. Because it's about 3,000 miles.
The wiki's wrong.
3,000.
But so yeah, the wiki must be wrong.
Wiki's wrong.
They took a
Yeah,
train.
update that.
Yeah,
He
it's only
sold his
like 5
cardinal
miles
hat.
away.
He sold his
Hey.
cardinal hat so they could take the train, and they took the
Right.
train here.
They flew by airship all but the last mile, and the last mile was just hell, and it left all these injured people.
Airship
The
ran out,
airship
yes.
crashed.
You know what? Actually, that might not be a bad way of explaining it. That it's reasonable that there would have been an airship that possibly escaped and brought them here.
Yep,
So-
they called it the
so yeah.
Zeppelin.
But the ship did eventually end up crashing.
And that's why
Not
everyone's covered in soot.
badly, but it became inoperable.
Goddamn half elves at Lyrandar.
Shouldn't
Their
have
shoddy
named it.
workmanship.
That's what they get for naming it the Hindenburg.
So does he look like
Um,
he can move on his own? Like how bad off is he?
He's an old man, but if he needed to move, he could probably move with some assistance. He's not like crippled or anything like that.
Okay.
Come, Father, let us make our way closer to the ladder and to the gate. I assume they will open the gate for you.
He's got to climb the ladder like everybody else. If I can climb the ladder, he can climb the ladder.
If you need assistance, let me know.
He looks like he needs a skin graft.
Right.
Tell me,
So
tell me what happened at Flamekeep. What did you see?
there was a great fireball. It enveloped the city. It was like nothing I've ever seen before. I could hear screams of people burn. It was deafening. But then it was like the city just vanished. It's just a crater now. But it still burns.
Well, we can be thankful that at least you survived. You can help us to find our way through this amazing tragedy.
Out of curiosity, about how long ago was this explosion?
It was a little bit more than a day ago.
Would that coincide with the flash people claimed they saw?
Yep.
Okay, so that's a hell of an explosion. We saw it 3,000 miles away.
We may have seen the airship crash.
Yeah, that's what we saw. That or an upper atmosphere nuclear weapon went off, and we just saw the flash of the nuke, and it crushed the city.
Can I make a perception or insight or something amongst the crowd to see if anybody looks like they plan on doing anything, like they might get violent or they're something like that?
Yeah.
Other than-
Perception or investigation would both be good.
Okay, I'll take the one where I have an actual plus. Oh yes, by 6.
Okay. I mean, everybody looks like they could potentially just kind of get rowdy. This, especially given what this group has gone through.
Okay, then
Sorry, you froze for a minute. At least, I froze. What did you say?
I take my nunchucks out, like ready to. If I have to take on everybody, I will.
Okay.
Oh god, he's like the Secret Service. Everyone's an enemy.
Oh, with nunchucks.
Secret Service ninja.
I would again whisper, Cardinal, are you here in disguise? Do the people here know that you are who you are? I can't hear you. You're speaking at all.
Really low.
Uh-oh.
Oh, he's lost his voice.
Oh no, the
Cardinal
Cardinal, are
can't
you
speak.
okay?
He's lost his
I think I
voice.
heard. I
Can't
think
hear.
I heard something
Someone
about
cast silence.
rod of
Okay.
Woodley Mites for everyone.
There it is.
Yeah.
Let me,
Is this better?
Yeah,
let
there
me
we
have a
go.
look inside that throat of yours.
Nobody knows. I did not know how people would react.
So I'm going to start looking around. I assume the gate would have, at least a lot of gates usually have, like there's the gate where they can open it up and let massive traffic through. But usually there's like a smaller gate, like a door,
A
so that they
sound
don't
board.
have to let everyone in. So I assume that's what they would open, not that they would swing the gates open entirely. But I would look around and begin to pick out people who I would say look pretty bad off, like highly injured.
Mm-hmm.
And then I would tell everyone, we need to get the most wounded inside the gates. The people who are relatively healthy, we can deal with them, but we should take the most severely wounded, including our old father here, inside as quickly as possible so their wounds can be tended to. So yeah, spring into action. Go and find the most wounded and bring them over to the gate.
Of course, Solomon. And I just walk away. And I like that one and that one. Ooh, you, come with me.
Wait, let's make them a bit more wounded. Smash the knee.
All right, so you guys are kind of triaging people and trying to help make a way for them to come in. Now, while Kurt, while that would be normally correct, that there's usually a small entrance. In the history of Thalios, those entrances have previously been exploited, and so there's those have been kind of filled in and no longer part of the thing. So they would actually have to open the gates
Okay.
in order to
Yeah.
let people in.
So
And the captain has
anyway,
told Solomon that 10 times, and he can't remember. He forgets it every time.
yeah, I'm just gonna start pulling on the whatever's left of like the door, try to get my fingers in there. I assume I just forget. Did Paelius go up the ladder or just walk away?
I was heading that way.
Okay.
That's like deuces. I'm out, man. Fuck this shit.
So, but I would, after we gather a reasonable number of the heavily injured, I would tell everyone, you should form a line so that if they try to rush the gate, they can be held back. Because if they go in, I have no doubt people will shoot them.
Well, I got my riot shield and my baton.
If we don't break their kneecaps first.
I think we'll be able to take care of anything that might happen.
All right. So Peleus kind of disappears. And next thing you guys see is a kind of fireball.
Okay.
And
I wasn't looking to puncture him.
or kind of more of a pillar of flame. And you see when you turn, you see Paelius standing right in front. Now the flame kind of it shoots out, but then it goes out, and what's left is this naked guy who's kind of vaguely caught fire, kind of running along his flesh. His eyes are completely burned out, just husks with steam coming out of them, and he's got this really crazed Joker look on his face. You see that Paelius was kind of had hit him across the back of the head, maybe, because he's still kind of in that position, and Paelius is kind of still like he's like drawing his hand back and in surprise.
Didn't know this dagger could do that.
Does this guy seem strange in any way? Well, I mean, other than the fact he's on fire with no eyes and, just been hit.
And Paelius, give me a strength check.
Just Jesus. Strength.
Or not, strength save.
It doesn't matter.
He lifts, he's fine.
Did I?
Well, if
15.
Okay. So the guy kind of goes to punch you like this, and you're able to kind of block the blow. And it only sends you about 10 feet back, but you're able to kind of roll and get back to your feet quite quickly. And then you hear people start to scream as it seems like other people in the crowd begin tearing into others, and actually several people seem to be catching flame and are actually like throwing fire in some instances. And so it's just complete mayhem. So everybody, initiative.
Yay!
Boy.
Yes! That's a 4.
Jesus Christ.
Oh,
Can't keep my
fucking
dice in the
hell.
tray.
I'm having that same problem. My doctor says it should clear up in a few days, though.
I also got a 16. But Lux, you almost certainly will go before me. I am clumsy. I am smart relative to how clumsy I am.
I was really hoping this Flame, a Joker-like character, would stop and then give this long speech and lecture us about everything. We could attack him, but I guess not.
Well, if you brought that banner with you, you would have been fine.
How far away was the Joker-like guy from us?
That was about 20 feet from where Solomon and Cardinal Crozen were.
Okay.
So let's see.
Oh. You still get the 4 action points?
No, it's 1 action point because it's based on proficiency.
Oh, that's right. That's
so
right.
half your proficiency bonus rounded up.
Gotcha.
So we got
1 action point for every point of AC you have.
1 action point for every point of your strength bonus.
Oh, shit.
Oh, man.
1 action point for every pound of carry weight you have. That'll be 1,200.
And then
All these alternative methods, I got nothing.
I just want to say there's so many
That's-
enemies, he's still rolling initiative for all of them.
Oh, boy.
Us versus everyone in Thalios.
What is that, about 6,000? I don't remember. We can take him.
all right. Before we start this battle, do you mind if we take a 5-minute break?
No,
Yeah.
it's fine.
And get some water.
Hey, so give me the rundown of Alyssa. I don't know anything about her.
You want her. That's all you need to know. No.
All right.
She thick.
What if Dr. Sheev isn't straight?
You still want her.
Oh, okay.
She thick.
She's thick.
She's 5'10", 180 pounds, half giant.
Oh, so you're
Look-
Goliath or just half giant?
She's a reskinned Goliath, so she looks human.
Cool.
And she has a carrying capacity of 1,200 pounds
Fucking hell.
and a push-pull capacity and lift of 2,400 pounds.
What the fuck?
There's a perk in the UA called Brawny, which makes you go ahead and lets you increase the size of your carrying capacity. And so as a personal challenge, when I got 20 in strength, I wanted to see how high could I make this?
Yeah, that's scary strong.
Someone should cast enhance ability on me so it goes up by another size length.
What the fuck?
My character right now can go ahead and grapple like purple worms and krakens, technically, because I can grapple all the way up to gargantuan creatures.
Holy crap.
Yep.
So you're just a bodybuilder. This bodybuilder lady.
The irony is that what I do for my backstory is I rolled randomly and it gave me a guild artisan backstory.
Oh,
And then I rolled the d20 and I became a cobbler, so I'm a shoemaker.
all right.
Hey, it's a big hammer. You have to, get the shoe right and everything,
Hard work, I guess, especially if you're working on giants.
I don't know. My father was a giant.
Oh.
I believe I'm full human. I have no idea that I'm half giant.
Where's your character from?
Passage.
Passage.
Everyone hates me in this city.
Okay.
I'm a traitor to my own people.
Yeah. Peter and I established that she told him that his father died fighting off an invading horde of vampires in Sharn. So if you could direct that campaign in that direction, you don't have to make a
Vampire
liar.
rats.
Right. You don't have to make a liar out of her.
In other words, we already know that Peter's going to die. To vampire rats.
And Solomon, where's he from?
He basically grew up in Thrain, but he was born in Sharn back when Lux was married to Jofar from a different game. And then
right.
she left Jofar and moved back up here because she's an inherent of the Silver Flame as well.
She left with my brother. That's why he's not in the campaign.
Right. We needed, food for the trip.
Yep.
All right, everyone ready? All right.
Depends.
So, just again to set the scene. Currently, Cardinal Crozin is right next to Solomon. He has vital information that he has to get to Solgar. You have a crowd of roughly 200-300 people in front of you, now rushing to get to the wall, trying to get to the ladder, trying to pound on the gates. And in the middle of this crowd, you have a number of, it looks like people, but much like the one that just attacked Paelius, the whatever clothes they were wearing are now charred to ash, and their eyes have been burned out, and they seem to have some slight flame running along their flesh. So Lux, you are up. Then we have Solomon on deck, and monsters in the hole.
So how close is Solomon to me?
You guys are probably all pretty close together with the exception of Peleus and Dr. Sheev. Because I imagine, Dr. Sheev, you were supposed to be listening to Solomon in terms of looking for people.
Yeah.
Okay, so Peleus is next to this guy who just attacked him?
Mm-hmm. Well, no. 10 feet away. So about 30 feet away from you now.
Okay, so in one movement I can get there.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I'm going to attack him. All right. Natural 20. Boom.
What a start.
All right, roll again.
18 total.
All right, that's a hit. Roll your percentile.
44.
All right. So the target would be immobilized until the end of its next turn. However, Peter, what does it look like when you attack this creature?
Well, I just give a quick glance and see if Solomon's okay. And I dart over there and whip out my nunchucks and crack this dude right in the head with them.
Okay. So as you crack it in the head, your nunchuck actually crushes this person's or creature's skull in, and flames erupt from the wound, and the creature kind of, it's not quite a scream, it's almost like a hiss, like the hiss of like steam pressure being forced out, and the creature then kind of erupts in a fireball. It doesn't hurt you, but you can feel the heat and it singes you.
Is there nothing else? Because is it gone? It's just a big poof of flame and it's done?
Well, no, the body is crumpled and it's currently on fire right now because it kind of exploded in flame, but not in a way to hurt you, and outside of maybe singeing your eyebrows or whatever. But the body is crumpled at your feet and
Okay.
burning.
I'm going to do my bonus action, unarmed strike, and kick it away from me.
Okay.
You want me to roll?
Mm-mm. You kick it quite far.
That's damn right I do.
All right. There are more of these things, though, throughout the crowd.
Good.
So, Solomon, you're up. Monsters on deck. Peleus in the hole.
So I will say, stay behind me, very old one. And then I will delay my whole turn until his turn so that I can basically move him with me and just change my position in the initiative.
Assume that he can move with you right now.
Okay. Then I am going to move him away from the door, from the gate, so that we don't wind up getting crushed. And then how far away is the next nearest one of these devil creatures?
So doing a scan of the crowd, there's some people in between you, but it looks like probably from where you were originally standing within 10, 15 feet.
Okay. So first I will move him away. And then are there people like surging around these things? I assume they would be kind of giving the creatures a birth.
They are. Yeah, people are, but it's like, it's pandemonium right now.
Okay. I will nonetheless reach back and pull a javelin and hurl it at the creature.
Okay. The creature does have half cover.
Oh, you know what? You know what? Never mind. That would be. I'm forgetting. I'm not used to playing clerics. I will cast Sacred Flame. And then from my hand, you'll see my hand erupts in silver fire that then begins to form around this creature. So it has to make a DC 15 dexterity save.
I rolled a 19.
Then he is fine.
Don't worry, at no point in playing a cleric did Sacred Flame ever work for me either. It always failed.
I am rolling the dice that seem to always favor me when I'm playing DM, never as a player. So something to keep in mind.
But I am going to use my action point, and I'm going to cast Protection from Good and Evil on Crozen.
Okay.
That's my turn.
Okay. So then now several of these monsters they're ripping into people. People seem to be dying left and right from both bloody wounds as well as intense bursts of heat. One of the monsters from the crowd
Come at me, bro.
launches this bolt of flame at Alyssa.
Oh, yeah.
Does a 17 hit?
Nope. Block that with my shield.
Yeah, so you managed to just barely block it with your shield. Another one rushes up towards Lux after striking one of its kind.
Good. I don't have to go chase after him.
And it rolled a 23.
It's all right. Scar's built character.
That's
Bring
a
it.
miss.
And you take 8 fire damage.
All right.
As it comes up and it like claws at you, and midway through, as it's raking its claws through the air, they suddenly burst into flame, and really dig deeply into your flesh, and you can feel it not just burning, but it seems to even almost a burning that flows through your veins and into your body, and you feel it deep within you, not just bodily, but also almost like spiritually. All right. So, Halus, you're up. Dr. Sheep is on deck, and then more monsters in the hole. Let's see. You're muted, I think. No.
He just has nothing to say to you.
Why have you done this?
How about this?
Yeah. Oh,
That
there we go.
works.
There we are. Your
Microphone.
head was broken.
Microphones are handy. How many do I see?
I see.
You would need to use an action to do a search action. See specifically. I mean, there's
it's
a
quick
number. There's a you can see a number of them.
Okay.
It's.
All
I
right,
mean,
so-
just quick glance. You have the observant feat, so I'll give you that. So within the close proximity to you, there's probably like 5 of them.
Okay.
but also you don't know how this happened. You don't know if because this was a person that seemed fine, and then from your perspective started twitching out, and so you don't know if this is some kind of strange affliction or what's going on.
And were we the only fucking people who were sent down here?
No, so there's other soldiers down here as well, and they're also trying to both fight back the crowd as
Okay.
well as engaging these things.
All right.
And some of your friends or not companions, but your soldier peers seem to be not doing well either. Some of them are actually falling in battle.
Losers.
All right, and then one more quick question here. The shadow cantrip is that can you see through that darkness? Or is it
No.
like magical darkness that you can't see through?
So shadow, what it does is it creates an area that snuffs out sources of light.
Okay.
So sources of natural light. So it doesn't necessarily create darkness. It just enhances the conditions of,
Gotcha. Okay. All right. Well, I can't wait for the cleric to cast light on something. So in the meantime, then I will go ahead and approach this one that attacked Lux and say, "I suppose I can help you out," and I'll jab a dagger at it.
Okay.
Or actually, I'm sorry, I have a rapier, so I'll use that. Oh, fucking hell, man. Well, all right. A 7 ain't gonna do shit, I don't think.
Unfortunately not, no.
2 on the die.
You actually, your blade does cut into the creature, but it doesn't seem to have any effect, and now it's looking at you.
Normally, that would have hurt somebody.
So Dr. Sheev, you're up, monsters on deck, and then Alyssa in the hole.
All right, so how many of these things can I catch in a 20-foot cube?
You can catch a couple, but you'll also catch a lot of bystanders. You're in a crowd of like 200-300 people who are rushing towards you.
Bystanders on people.
Whatever. So I look at like all the stuff going on, and I look over to see Solomon. I'm like, I'm just a medic. I can't be here. And I start running over towards him, and then I look into one of my pouches, and I pull out like a Tupperware container, and I said, and it says like experiment 600 written on it, and I'm like, this should do. And I throw it out of the container. It's like this slime looking thing, and it starts like super fast running across the ground towards the 20-foot cube, and it's like it splits off and starts growing. It starts like crawling up the people, and it starts to form some sort of like a head, pretty much. It starts to grow out of like one of their out of their shoulder or whatever, and it throws up like a big green splot onto their person, and then starts screaming really loudly. And I'm casting Fairy Fire.
Remember, folks, it's not a war crime if you haven't signed the Geneva Convention.
So wait a minute.
Fairy Fire, aka Experiment 600.
Right. I guess it could have been like worse, where it's like I'm casting sleep.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. You throw up so much you just fall unconscious.
So wait a minute. So the slime doesn't just crawl up people. It actually forces itself inside the person.
Well, no, it's sort of like it's like an exterior sort of like just the slime turns into something. It doesn't like
Okay.
grow
Okay,
out
so
of
it's
them.
like-
It sort of just forms.
Okay, so it's more like kind of a pod of some sort growing up, and
Yeah.
then splitting open, and then it's a face that screams and then pukes on
And
them,
throws up, yeah.
and now they're shiny.
Yeah, that's.
It's like
This-
a
I
bad
was
blackhead.
I was like, artificers don't have spell slots, and the Mornlands are all fucked up. So this is the best way to do it.
I like
I
your
think it was-
style, Brennan.
Yeah,
I think that was great.
'Cause I didn't see that coming. I was like, where is he
Nope.
going with this?
So yeah,
Yeah,
cast
I
Fairy
was
Fire.
I was thinking it was going to be some like acid-based attack
Yeah.
or like some version of Burning Hands.
Well,
And
the amount of
no,
acid he was on to come up with this idea for an attack could make it acid-based.
I like to think the heads realized that they were actually just part of the slime and nothing else, and so that's why they started throwing up and screaming. Just an existential crisis on their part.
What is my purpose?
Oh my God, we're just experiment 600.
And then
Maybe
Dr.
we're one of the
Dr.
early ones.
Dr.
No, it says
Steve, like,
600.
then looks up at like the tower at the walls and says, "Loose on them."
So because I like your description so much, and I don't want to roll that many d20s, I'm just gonna say it works.
Hell yeah.
No saving throws. Those people that were caught in it, there's probably like a dozen at least, which may include probably like 3 or 4 of the monsters. So that happened.
So out of 200, and that means that 3 to 4 out of a dozen. So we're fighting either 50 or 75.
Don't worry, I have Sacred Flame.
There's also another spell you get later. It's a real shitty one. Spirit Guardians or something like that. That'll be helpful eventually.
All right, so we got the monsters up. Alyssa is on deck, and then Lacis is in the hole. So we have
at me.
another one runs up to Alyssa.
Oh yeah.
This one going right into Alyssa's face, and then, but Alyssa is able to block the attack pretty deftly.
Master of Shields.
But for some reason, these things are just. I guess there were a number of them just naturally around Alyssa. So another one fires a streak of flame towards Alyssa.
Oh yeah.
Alyssa's just so tall. Like she towers over the crowd. She's easy to make out.
But it goes wide and actually strikes some other poor person, and it hits them right in the head. And it's such a forceful and such a superheated flame that their skull actually just pops.
Sounds like a normal date for me.
And then yeah, and there's another one going after Alyssa.
Give me all
So
your
another
hate.
one running up on Alyssa, but unable to strike. Alyssa is just, ducking, dodging, and good armor.
But clearly in some trouble since they're all focused on him.
I shouldn't have used my taunt ability.
All right, so then Alyssa is up, Lacis on deck, Lux in the hole. Alyssa, you have
2 next to me, I think.
two right next to you.
Well, I'll go for one of them, the one on the left, because he looks like an asshole. Does a 26 hit?
Absolutely.
Good. Gonna take a swing with my long sword, because they don't have armor. And, that's pretty nuts. That's actually max damage. That is 15 points of slashing damage.
Okay. Go ahead and describe how you kill it.
Annoyed that this thing would dare even try to attack me, I just lift up my sword and backhand it with the blade, slicing its head clean off.
There's a gout of flame that it erupts from its neck as it slinks to the ground.
Very good. And I'm a fighter, so I can't do shit with my bonus action and one weapon.
Not until next level.
Yep.
All right. Lacis, you're up. Lux on deck. Solomon in the hole.
Alyssa seems to be rather surrounded, so I will pop on over there.
Cast Fireball quickly on me.
Casting Primal Savagery and just scratch one of them.
Okay. What does it look like when you cast Primal Savagery?
Basically, my nails suddenly turn to like this weird, almost stone-like consistency. And when I scratch them, it melts away the skin there.
Okay.
Oh, yay, these dice are rolling so well. I'm glad I bought new dice. 10 to hit.
Miss.
Did you roll for advantage? Did they get advantage on those ones? Because fairy fire.
I don't think we win the area you cast Fairy Fire in.
I get
No. Yeah.
Okay.
No, those are not ones that are affected by fairy fire.
Please don't drop Fairy Fire on me.
No, drop fairy fire on everything.
Yeah, but Fairy Fire is the
If it's
two-headed
2
slime
dice,
version.
I might be able to get something. I'm sticking to my tradition of not rolling above like 5, though.
That's good. That's good.
Do you want to use your action point to do a new action or re-roll?
Sure. I would like to try to re-roll.
All right.
That is so much better. Let's see. 25 to hit.
All right. You hit.
Sweet. So 8 acid damage.
All right. Go ahead and describe how you kill it.
Yes. I scratch deep as the skin or whatever it is starts to melt away, spreading quickly.
All right. As it dissolves, jets of fire begin spewing out of this thing as it crumples to the ground. Lux, you're up. Solomon on deck. Monsters in the hole.
So I got this one guy right next to me, right?
Yes.
Nice. 23.
Hit.
You take 6 damage.
All right. Go ahead and describe how you kill it.
Yeah, so he hits me, and I just pull the nunchucks out and spin around and just, like, whack him in the chest. And I imagine maybe it goes through him, and he just falls in a heap of fire.
Mm-hmm.
How far is the other two?
Alyssa and Lacis?
Yep.
They're probably about 15 feet from you.
So I'm going to use my movement to run over there. Not my girls. And I'm going to take my action point, and I'm going to attack them.
You could do your bonus action first.
Oh,
'cause there's only one.
bonus action.
Oh, okay. Then I'll do my bonus action.
With your martial arts ability.
Okay. Yep. Crap. No. 13.
Nope. That misses.
All right. But I will use my action point and attack.
There you go.
Shit. Nope. That's 11. Bonus action. I'm getting tired. Oh, there we go.
You only get one action or one bonus action with an action point.
Okay. All right.
Almost.
I was too big. I kept getting in your way every time you tried to reach around me and hit.
It was almost glorious. All right, Solomon, you're up. Monsters on deck. Paelius in the hole.
So there's one over by Lux.
Uh, there's one by Lux, but you also have 5 or 6 not too far from you who are all glowing, and you see some of them are beginning to run towards you, but they're also tearing into the people who are glowing next to them, since they're also easy targets.
I hope they're not like zombies and the people start turning.
So I will assume then that my mother can handle herself. There's only one and several people over there. So I'm going to forsake Sacred Flame this time, and I'm going to, if one of them's within 30 feet at least, I'll hurl a javelin at that one.
Okay. Go ahead and roll with advantage.
Aim for the
That's
screaming
20.
head.
22.
All right, go ahead and describe how you kill it.
So as it comes running up with the head screaming, I hurl the javelin at it, and it manages to pierce both of the heads. Although the slime head keeps screaming anyway because it doesn't care about a javelin.
Kind of a dick.
All right. Anything else that you're doing on your turn?
No, I'm still standing in front of Crozen.
Okay. The wall is still probably about some distance from you. Are you still backing up towards the wall?
Yeah, keeping him behind me.
Okay. All right. So on this turn, you probably get to the wall. Are you trying to get next to one of the ladders, or what were you thinking?
I assume the ladders are being swarmed with all of the running people. So I actually would be trying to keep him in a place where he's not going to get trampled to death by the running crowd.
Okay. So looking at the ladders, you do see that there are people trying to climb them, but the archers on the wall are actually doing a pretty thorough job of shooting anybody that's attempting to climb. At least any person, like any of the soldiers, if they were, none of them seem to be attempting to climb, and you have a suspicion that they wouldn't necessarily shoot your guys as soldiers, but these people, they're not really separating friend from foe because it's hard to tell who's who in the crowd.
It's kind of like 28 days later at this point. Or was it 28 weeks later, the movie where the soldiers are just shooting everyone as they're running?
Yeah. So, monsters are up. Peleus on deck. Dr. Sheev is in the hole. So 3 of the monsters run up and begin surrounding Solomon and Cardinal Crozen. They don't have any action left to attack, but they are there right in your face. And then
Show my butt to them.
one is going after Dr. Sheev. Does a 10 hit, Dr. Sheev?
Does not.
Okay. You got one right next to you.
Okay.
And then in the meantime, you see more people being torn apart by these things and more blasts of fire within the crowd of this mass of humanity. Lots of screaming. Some of the soldiers from other units, you're seeing more of them falling beneath the both being trampled by people as well as being overcome by these creatures. Peleus, you're up. Dr. Sheev on deck, and then more monsters in the hole.
So by Solomon and the Cardinal, there are some over there, right?
Yeah, there's 3 of them.
I'll annoyed, but I'll go that direction and try and hit one of
Okay.
them.
So you can get 30 feet closer. That'll put you probably within 50 feet of them. Do you have any ranged attack that you can use?
Right.
Because they've been moving back towards the wall.
Well, I do have a short bow, so I suppose I could do that.
Okay. Do you want to drop your dagger and use your short bow then?
I don't. Is anybody else like along the way?
Yeah, one of the fairy fired ones, probably pretty close.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that works. I'll strike at one of those. Just
Okay.
like in passing, try and see if I can poke at it. Fairy fire, so advantage.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully it works. Hey, it's a natural 20.
All right. Roll it again.
Nope.
Okay. Still max damage, which is enough to kill it.
Yeah, 11. So just in passing, I imagine he's like busy trying to attack somebody, and I move behind him and just like jab the rapier like through the back of the neck, like up through the skull. Just quick, and then keep moving.
Okay. As it does that, it shoots fire out of its mouth as it collapses in a heap and catches more flame. All right. That was Peleus. Dr. Sheeb, you're up. Monsters on deck. Alyssa in the hole.
Okay. What are the so there's a person in melee range. What's the deal with range spells? Are they cast at disadvantage then?
Yes.
So what's that idea? So I'm just gonna see this guy coming up to me, and I pull the syringe out of my back pocket and go to try to stab it into his neck.
Okay.
So I'm gonna roll. So, with advantage, I'm pretty sure. Is this a fairy fire one?
Yeah.
19 to hit,
Yep.
and D4 plus the 2, so that's 6 points of piercing damage.
All right. Describe how you kill it.
Well, I just like casually like look behind me, and then all of a sudden I turn around and there's a needle in his neck, and I pull to extract the DNA or whatever, and I just push him down onto the ground. We'll
Okay.
push his husk down. Yeah.
Okay. Be careful. You might burn your hand pushing him, because he catches on fire and kind of explodes in fire as you kill him.
Well, I really need this sample, so.
All right. So, Lacis, you have 2 bolts of fire being thrown at you.
No, safer.
10, I assume misses,
Misses.
and a 21, I assume hits.
Definitely hits.
So you take 8 fire damage. And then the there's still one
In melee.
on Alyssa,
Yep.
and that one attacks Alyssa
Oh yeah.
and misses.
Aw.
And then finally one runs up on Peleus after stabbing the one in the neck. It kind of blindsides him from behind. Roll in a 21.
That's a miss.
And you take 7 fire damage.
damage.
And
Things
we
are
have
really heating up.
2 hit points.
All right. So Alyssa, you're up. Lacis is on deck, and Lux is in the hole.
Still the one in melee with me?
Yep.
I'm gonna smack that girl or that whatever around. Does a 19 hit?
Yes.
There we go. 10 damage.
Describe its death.
This one, there's a lot of people here, you know. It's going to be a problem. I'm just going to stab it straight through the chest and then spin with my sword around, ripping it in half.
Yeah, you got a pile of flaming bodies beginning to kind of circle around you with
happens.
Lux and Lacis.
And how far away are the ones who were throwing flames at us?
They're just kind of randomly dispersed through the crowd.
About how far is the nearest one?
Looking, you could probably get there within 20 feet.
Okay, I'm going to go right up to it and just stare it
Awesome.
down for now.
It's just
Okay.
Brendan shut his camera off.
Oh, okay. I was like, everybody moved. All right.
Give the evil
Lacis,
eye.
you are up. Lux on deck. Solomon, you're in the hole.
All right, are there any within 5 feet of me that are still up?
No. The closest one is the one that Alyssa went after.
Okay. I'm going to pick up a few stones off the ground, casting Magic Stone, and chuck one of the stones at that one.
Okay.
Luckily, with spell sniper, I have a stupidly long range. So, rolled a 1 on the die.
Oh boy. Roll it again.
I'm being targeted, I feel it.
What?
There is a 19. There is no in between on these dice.
Okay. So you managed to avoid a critical fail.
And I don't get hit.
Yes. Anything else you want to do, Lacis?
I'll just start moving that direction.
Okay.
Stay behind me.
Yeah.
Lux, you're up. Solomon on deck. More monsters in the hole.
Is there any more around us? Or are they gone?
No, those ones are gone right now. The closest one is the one that Lacis and Alyssa have gone after, but there are other ones in the crowd that you can move on as well.
Also, your son's in danger from 3 of them, I think.
So there's 3 around Solomon.
Yeah.
Can I get to one of them?
If you use a key point to do Step of the Wind to dash.
I don't think I have that at first level.
Oh, you don't have key points at first level?
Second.
Oh. So you could make a double move and you would be there.
Do you have any dots or anything you can use as a range attack?
Um,
Because you can move 30 feet or whatever your movement and then throw something, perhaps.
yeah, because improvised weapon, I'm proficient, so I wouldn't. So could I like find a rock and chuck it?
Yeah. Yeah, we'll do that.
Okay. And I assume that's a D4.
You could
Yeah.
pick up Lacis's rock.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm sorry, is this yours? You threw it backwards.
Big money. No. It's a very erratic throw. It's not a 1, but
Okay.
It was only a 24.
And then you're using your movement to get closer?
Yep.
Okay. All right, so Solomon, you're up. Monsters on deck. Peleus in the hole.
So, 2 questions. One, how far away are we from one of the ladders?
15 feet.
And do I think Crozen could climb a ladder, given his age and injury?
If he had to, he could.
Okay.
He would not
and
be. He would not be quick, but he could do it.
Okay, so if he were to move, obviously if I move, attacks of opportunity galore, but if he were to move, would he take attacks of opportunity?
He would, but I would allow you to use your action to basically do a disengage for the both of you.
Okay, so I am going to hand him my shield, which is also my holy symbol, so there goes any spell with a material component, and say, you need to climb the ladder. Hold the shield out above you so that they can see the holy symbol on it. They will not fire at you if they think you are a soldier.
Okay.
Then I'll use my action to disengage and start moving him over, yelling at the crowd, if you want to survive, move! You can climb up after him. They won't fire at him if he has my shield. Move!
Give me a strength check or athletics check to push people out of the way.
That is a natural 20, so 25.
Okay. You are knocking people over. You don't even have the slightest resistance, so you don't even need to use like it's not like difficult terrain trying to get through these people. You are empowered, but with the strength of the silver flame, as you protect Cardinal Crozen.
You're just sending people flying. You're like parting the Red Sea and shit.
So now
It's like Sauron in the mace, just people flying.
Yeah. Big smile on your face as you're whistling as you do it.
So you manage to get away from those creatures, but they follow you. You've interposed yourself between Cardinal Crows and the monsters, so they're not going to be able to get past you, but they do attack you. So first one. Oh, sorry.
And my AC is now lower.
Yep, I do.
It's not a 9, is it?
No.
All right, so the first one misses. It's not a 10, is it?
No.
Second one misses. Is it a 12?
Nope.
They're just stumbling over themselves trying to get to you.
Yeah, so you
Just let me
managed
knock
to
all these people out of the way. They're scared.
Like, oh shit, man.
And then the one that Alyssa tried to attack retaliates.
Yep, I'm in front of it.
And misses.
You ain't getting past my shield.
All right, so Peleus, you're up. Dr. Sheeb is on deck. Monsters in the hole. Can't hear you.
Sorry. There was one on me, right?
Yes.
All right. Was that one of the other fairy fired ones?
No, this one was not.
Alrighty. It's just me and this one, right?
For now.
Then, and then Solomon just moved further away. I was attempting to move to them, but they keep moving.
Actually, you moved a bit closer because the 15 feet was a bit closer.
Okay. Cool.
Not much, but it was closer, like, because you were off here. It's closer this way, but it's still like triangularly. It's still
Mhm. So they're like moving. I'd want to move with them. So like move to intercept and then move along
right.
with. So
But you can make it there with your movement in that turn. With this.
all right.
Turn.
So what I'll do is I'll dodge and then
Okay.
move. So that I'll still provoke, but they'll have disadvantage. And
Okay.
then everything will have disadvantage
Okay.
until the beginning of my next turn.
Misses
Cool.
by a lot. Rolled a 2. All right. So now Peleus is next to Solomon and Cardinal Crozen. Dr. Sheev, you're up. Monsters on deck. Alyssa in the hole.
So Dr. Sheev is safe right now. Nothing's on him. Can I go up to a creature?
I think you have. Oh no, you killed it, right?
Yeah.
With
Yeah.
the dagger. So
Yeah.
you don't have any on you right now.
Okay, cool. So I go over to who seems like, is Solomon like most in trouble right now? There's a bunch on him.
Yeah, and Peleus just joined that group.
So I'm gonna move up to about 10 feet of one of them, and then I'm gonna pull out a vial. Just a vial, and it's got like some weird one-eyed spider in it, and it says it says experiment 24 written on it, and this like four-legged one-eyed spider, I shake up the bottle and then pop the cork, pointing it at one of the creatures, and it like launches to one of its like orifices, maybe its ear, its mouth, wherever, and then it like sort of excretes like this poison mist out of it. I'm casting poison mist or whatever it is. I'm casting poison spray. Yeah.
Are you
Yeah, I have to
using
make a con
mine
save.
or are you using the original?
I'm using what is it? It's not unearthed. It's what's it called? Xantha's Guide to Everything is this poison spray. It's written in the cantrips for Artificer. Yeah, that one.
No,
Okay,
right.
there's one in the player's handbook, and then there's Mike's special version.
Oh, you got a special version? Oh.
Yeah, my version of poison spray is actually a 5-foot radius.
On radius.
Yeah,
Oh.
it affects all creatures within 5 feet.
Well then, cool.
Aim for the
No,
middle
I
one
think
and you'll
you're
get all
talking about
three.
that's a different one, because there was 2 poison ones which I saw. I think acid, is it blob or something, or it
Acid
splashes.
splash?
Yeah. This is poison spray, which is just one target, and it does a con save.
Yeah, no, I changed it in my version. You're welcome to
good.
use the original player's handbook version.
No, I'll use this one. Yeah, I'll use your one. And then after it excretes into one of the people, it jumps over to another one and does the same in that one's ear or mouth or whatever.
Okay, so you're running up to Solomon and you're using this like to catch the 3 in one go.
Yeah,
Okay.
they have to make a con save of DC 13.
2 of them managed to save. 1 of them doesn't. 1 of them critically saved. So, and they managed to make it a critical fail for you.
Nice.
So, rolling a D100. $17. Okay, so roll damage for 1 of them.
Okay, I rolled a 9.
Okay, so that one, the poison spray eats into it and causes it to erupt in flame, and it falls to the ground. Another one of them, though, they catch the spider mid-go, and they throw it at you. And they throw it at you with so much force that it causes you to stumble, moving back 10 feet and getting knocked prone. And you draw attacks of opportunity from this movement. So
All the civilians start hitting you.
Oh man.
a 12 and a 17.
12 doesn't hit, 17 does.
You take 7 fire damage.
Yeah.
Whiplash damage.
So, okay, yeah.
All right. So monsters are up. Alyssa on deck. Lacis in the hole. So there are only 2 more on Solomon. Despite Dr. Sheev drawing attention, they're focused on Solomon. And seem like they actually really want to get at Cardinal Crozen. So they both attack you. 11 and 23.
23 hits.
You take 3 fire damage.
And I had to make a concentration check. I made it.
And then
Stop trying to hit me and hit me.
and then Peleus, there's a bolt of fire flying across the battlefield in your general direction
At disadvantage.
at disadvantage. 17.
Yeah, I think that's gonna do it. Yes, it does.
You take 4 fire damage.
Well, I only take 2 because I only have 2 left.
Oh.
Vitality points.
All right. So Shay, just as a reminder, when because now Peleus is in vitality points, so he has a dispirited condition, which is basically disadvantage on everything offensive related, and then also a level of exhaustion. All right. Alyssa, you're up. Lacis on deck. Lux in the hole.
I got that one person right in front of me. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Good. Net 20. There we
All right.
go.
Roll
That's
it
what I
again.
needed. A 22, does that hit?
Okay. Roll percentile.
Okay. That's 99%.
Wow. You unlocked a secret
I got a new
wand.
skin for my sword, right? No headshots with it. God, I haven't invented it yet. Uh-oh.
Okay, so you just immediately kill it outright.
Oh, that's nice.
So describe the final blow.
I'm getting kind of tired of this, so I just lift my sword up and lazily slice the thing right in half.
Okay.
Bone and everything.
And then Lacis. You're muted.
How far away is Peleus?
From you, probably about 30 feet.
Okay. I'm going to cast Healing Word. Because I'm close enough to do that.
Or
So, where? Plus went that 4. So you get back 6 hit points.
Sweet. That's
Still
most
have
of,
the level of exhaustion, but you no longer dispirited.
that's most of my hit points.
All right, so healing words bonus action. Did you want to do anything else?
Let's see. I'm gonna throw another stone at something.
Okay. The one on Alyssa
Yeah.
is dead.
Are there any in 120-foot range?
Yes. Most of them have cover though, because there's lots of people in between.
I have spell sniper, so I can ignore that for the most part.
Okay, perfect.
Anything but total
Cool,
cover.
I rolled another 1.
Oh no! Don't hit
Roll
me!
it again.
I'm right next to you. This is going to go badly for me.
Right in the back of the head.
She could hit Paelius and
6 on
take
the
him to 0
reroll.
again.
Go what?
Should be the only one to hit Alyssa.
Okay. How are you hitting me? Let's say
So
it.
what did you roll?
6 on the die, plus 4 to
Boy.
hit. So,
All right, roll a D100.
yep. It was 1 on the damage die too, for what it's worth.
No.
63 or 36.
36. So you throw it, you hit Alyssa, but it doesn't hurt Alyssa. It bounces off her armor with speed and hits you in the knee, causing horrible pain to erupt from your knee. And now, until you take magical healing or have a successful medicine check administered to you, you move with half speed.
Really? Did you just kneecap me?
She used to be an adventurer.
So like took a stone to the knee.
Took a rock to the knee.
This is why they become gods, because they can only move at half speed.
Now, everybody roll me a constitution check.
No.
Not save, check.
Same thing.
17.
20, not now.
Oh, shit, hold on.
Fine.
Hello?
Hi. How you doing? No? Okay. Thought we was being friendly. I'm Alyssa. No monster can hurt me, but my friends.
I didn't hurt you. I took out my kneecap.
It hurt me emotionally, okay? This is going to require years of expensive therapy now to regain trust in people.
I understand.
Nobody knows my pain. Nobody.
I just assume you hip check the rock to deflect it right back at her.
Yeah, can I get my deck save too? No? Okay, sure. Oh no, second wind isn't magical. I can't actually heal myself. Shit.
Well, it hit Lacease in the knee. I understand it.
Let's see.
I hit myself. You're
Uh-oh.
fine.
I don't believe it.
Maybe not emotionally, but physically you're fine.
Of course I'm fine. I'm emotionally destroyed.
I, however, have to retire now because I
Well-
took a hit to the knee.
Well, on a brighter note, you're already a city god, so really it might be a chance for a promotion.
You just go up to them and say, need something?
Yes.
Oh,
Not.
Oh no.
And you're just going to continue playing.
oh. Oh.
Shit got real.
Oh boy.
So for ASI adjustments, we don't use race. We just use Mike's house rule.
For ability score increases at like level 4 and everything, you can still use the normal rule. It's
No,
it's
just-
this.
To start.
Yeah, we didn't add race bonuses. Was that a thing?
Right. You
Yeah,
don't
you
get
don't.
race bonuses normally. You get your class bonus and the background bonus.
Unless you're a human, a half-elf generalist, or a dwarf.
But those bonuses
Mountain
don't
dwarf.
add to your main, like your core.
No, you can't add those
nah.
to your core.
Yeah.
Nope.
Gotcha.
Okay. So I effed that up. I got to fix this.
God, you ruined everything, Lux.
I did.
It's always your fault. I love
I
you.
did. I did. Screwed that up.
I'm back. Minimal
you?
injuries.
How's the domestic violence coming along?
All right. So
You could tell her we all took her side. We're like, I can't believe he's just going to come back and play.
Yeah, really. Not even
Did
offering
anybody
makeup
roll
sex
it?
or anything.
did anybody roll a 13 or less?
Yeah.
Yep, sure did.
Don't admit
Okay.
it.
So those of you that rolled 13 or less, take a level of exhaustion.
Jesus
All right.
Christ.
Because
Wow.
not only are you guys fighting, there are people like running by on all sides and pressing in against you, and it's like you're having to deal with that is makes this much more intense and difficult than it would be otherwise if it were just a straight combat.
People, you keep coming towards me. I'm going to start using you as a sword.
All right, so we got Lux is up, Solomon on deck, and the monsters in the hole.
Lux has to remake her entire character, so
I fixed. Don't worry. I fixed my error.
He fixed the error in his ways.
All right. Who? Oh, so I have a level of exhaustion.
Yes.
That's right. I always feel exhausted. I don't really. Who's? So is there anybody on Solomon?
2.
Okay, yeah, they're getting their ass kicked. Okay. All right. I'll just go up to one of them and attack him.
Okay.
So, oh wait, no. Use this die. 14.
Miss.
So I'll try with my bonus action. And that is a 24.
That hits.
And they take 6 damage. No, 7 damage.
Okay. Go ahead and describe how you kill it.
So I run up and try to hit him with the nunchucks, and he kind of moves out of the way, and then I sweep the leg, and he goes down and cracks his leg like on the gate, and his head splits open.
Excellent.
Sweep the leg.
All right. Solomon, you're up. Monsters on deck. Hey, Elias in the hole.
so now that the cardinal is, I presume, at the ladder, making his way there, and everyone is cleared out so he can get there, I will turn and use my move action to draw my longsword and attack two-handed this time because I don't have a shield anyway. And miss. So 9 is what I rolled.
Okay. Yeah, that's a miss.
Verified.
Oh,
No. Was this
that one does
very
have fairy fire. Yes.
so 16.
Okay, that hits. This is the last fairy fire one.
That is 11 points of damage.
All right, describe how you kill that one.
So I draw, most of you have probably seen my longsword. It has a long wavy flamberge blade to it. And I swing around with this silver, wavy, flame-like sword and just completely cut right into the side of it down to the spine. And then draw my sword out as it drops.
All right. So now you guys start to see something strange within the crowd. Some of these monsters are now, they kind of go stiff, and you see them levitate up into the air, and one of them begins, fire erupts from it, and then it explodes in fire, making a small crater and taking out basically everybody in that area, causing limbs to fly. Several more of the soldiers end up getting killed or knocked out or maimed, and people are just even now screaming, and the terror is getting even more intense. And so one of these creatures runs up to Lux, who is also close to Solomon, Peleus, and Cardinal Crozin, and rises up and looks like it's going to explode.
Did Crozin make it to the ladder, by the way?
He is on the ladder. He is going up slowly at this point, but he's slow, and he
No
looks like he
excuse,
could
'cause he's
still
old.
be in the area of the blast. So with this, you guys each have 1 instant to do something. You can do something to protect yourself. You can do something to protect someone else. Or you can just take it.
How high up has this one levitated?
It levitated probably about 10 feet off the ground, and if the blast of the last one is any indication, it's probably somewhere around a 15-foot radius explosion.
I move.
Okay, so you're protecting yourself.
Yeah, 100%.
Okay.
So I am going to cast Blade Ward on Crozin.
Okay.
Were these things? I assume this was like an explosion, not like flame that was blowing things around.
Well, it's an explosion of flame.
Okay, because you described limbs flying off.
Oh yeah,
So-
I mean, yeah, it's concussive, but it's fire as well. So
So Blade Ward wouldn't against the fire portion. So I am going to leap up and try to drag this thing down out of the air and get it lower.
okay. And then Lux, are you doing anything?
I really don't care about the old guy, but well, I guess my son decides to grab this thing. That's what I'm going to do. I'll just jump up and try to grab it too.
Okay. So Peleus, being a coward, you get a +2 to your dexterity saving throw. Or you normally would, but because of what Solomon and Lux do, you actually don't even need to worry about taking damage. Because you guys are going to just absorb it all. So
My new character. Here they
Mother and son dead.
Mother and son found dead, age 35, cured in front of fort.
yeah, so by grabbing it, you negate any possibility of a saving throw, and are just going to take the full damage. However, you do ensure that nobody else around will be affected by the blast.
Don't worry. Over time, they'll forget
Forget what?
that we said.
Yeah, that's
Oh,
true.
oh.
I know we get overtime. Do we get workers' comp?
No,
Hazardous duty pay.
no, no.
All right.
Silver Flame benefits?
So you both take 13 fire damage.
I'm at 0 and dispirited.
So it doesn't roll into vitality, right? It just takes all your HP first?
Yeah.
Okay. I may be dispirited, but I'm not. I'm undeterred.
Yes. You do now have 2 levels of exhaustion, though.
Good.
And Solomon, you have 1. Additionally, because you both did that very heroic action and saved probably about a dozen other people, including Cardinal Crozen, both of you get a bonus action point that you can use starting next session.
Does that cure exhaustion 1 level?
Unfortunately, yes.
All right. So that was the monsters. Paelius, you're up. Dr. Sheeb on deck. Monsters in the hole.
We got any more of these things?
Yeah, they seem those. All of them seem to be in this state of preparing to do this explosion type thing.
Where's the nearest one? Or how far out, I guess?
You see one probably about 30 feet away.
All right. And he looks like he's about to explode then.
Yeah.
All right. I'm going to try something. I'm going to pull out a dagger and throw it at him.
Okay. All right. Make your attack roll.
All righty. Jesus, cocksucking Christ. Only a 10.
I'm not sure that Jesus sucked cocks.
This
He
one
was
did.
pretty against that, is my recollection.
This guy did.
See, senor.
Not my Jesus.
Hashtag
Not my Jesus. All right, so your dagger goes wide and misses.
Just like Jesus.
Can't roll shit.
Dr. Sheeb, you're up. Monsters on deck. Alyssa in the hole.
So I'm up. Yep. So I see how many are going up into the air? How many more?
Well, there's a couple of them that are already in the air. They're in the process of exploding. It's too late to do anything about them. But
Okay.
there's the one that is, because Paelius is not too far away from you. You guys are all kind of clumped together. I actually forgot to include you in the whole, are you going to save yourself or someone else?
Oh, we're doing that.
Because, well, no, I forgot to include you because I forgot that you were right there with them.
Okay.
Well, but
I got
there's
saved.
there's that one.
He would have saved people though, so bonus action point.
It's the thought that counts.
So there's the one that Paelius missed 30 feet away.
Okay. So you said 30 feet away, right? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, all right. I go back into my satchel looking for another experiment, and it is we're gonna call this. This one's called Operation Trebuchet, and it he pulls out like a fairly large container, which is holding like this giant slug-looking creature, and he pops the lids, and you can see it like undulating like that, real gross like, and I look over there, I like look at the creature, and I like try and line up like the range, and I drop in like a bottle of water into the weird slug creature's it looks like a big like a weird looking butthole kind of thing, and I just drop it in that, and it goes, and it shoots out into the sky, and splashes down onto the creature. I'm casting catapult.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's a ranged spell attack roll, right?
That's right. So I think it auto hits. They have to do a dex save.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Missed.
My attack missed.
No, the dex save missed. Sorry.
Oh, good. Yeah. And so
I
yeah,
love that
the
look
water.
of horror on your face.
So with a big form of like sludgy slime stuff, as well as the water, like the water bottle or whatever, splashes down onto the creature, doing hang on, how much? 3d8. So I'm gonna roll that now. And it does 17 points of damage.
All right. Go ahead and describe how it dies.
I just described it. a big slime ball of just weird excretion from this slug creature splashes, fully covering this creature and just like sticking it to the floor.
You
Like
can
some
say
sort
it,
of-
butt juice.
Yeah, this is my butt juice monster.
It's
So what
no
you're saying is
longer
this is a
Project
DJ.
Trebuchet.
And I quickly shut the case before it tries to escape my container. And that's my turn.
Keep your BJ inside the container.
All right. So there's one of these creatures is rising up, and it's within range to catch Alyssa and Lacis. So you guys have an instant. You try to protect yourselves or protect those around you.
Well, I can move 10 feet and jump in the air, and then try and kick it higher into the air, so it's outside of the range to hit us. And I can jump 8 feet in the air,
Okay.
and it's 10 feet up,
Um,
correct?
So that will help others, but it's going to expose you because you'll probably be midair when it explodes.
That's fine. I'm totally fine with that.
Okay. And Lacis, what about you?
I'm going to kind of interpose myself between that and some of the more injured.
Okay. So both of you will take disadvantage on your dexterity saving throws, but it will result in others being saved.
I mean, that is kind of our mission as city guards, is to protect people.
Says who? Have you seen the way the city guard acts around here?
Is 14 good enough?
I got both 19, so it's 21 total.
Okay. So you guys still manage to take only half damage.
Oh, hey.
So you both take 5 fire damage while protecting others.
Yay!
Yeah. So that was all my HP then. I'm down to vitality.
Okay. So now you have a level of exhaustion and you're dispirited.
I've got to go. Sorry, guys.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
We're about to finish up anyways.
Okay. Yeah. Sorry. I just I have to get the bike loaded.
No
up and
worries.
headed off.
No
Yeah.
problem.
Take care of the bike.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Good luck.
Anyways, I'll
Good
see you guys
luck.
in emails and stuff. Yeah. All right.
Yep.
Bye.
All right. In succession, more of these creatures begin rising up into the air and exploding, leaving the ground pockmarked and causing a great deal of mayhem. But with that, all of the creatures seem to no more seem to come about from the crowd. But now out, like there's mountains of bodies. Out of about 200-300 people that originally were here, there's probably now about 50 that are still alive. So the area is completely covered in blood. All of you guys are covered in blood and gore. And there's a great deal of screaming from the injured, because even though there's probably about 50 people alive, it doesn't mean that they're all healthy. A lot of them have suffered injuries that are pretty substantial. And you probably, out of maybe 24 other soldiers that accompanied you guys down here, there's probably about 10 that are still left, in addition to you guys.
First, I would say, Mother, hold on, let me treat your wounds. And then I would use a dose of the healer's kit. And you get back 6 plus your level, so 7 hit points.
All right.
And then I would start doing the same. I have 20 doses of a healer's kit. I would just use them all up on the people out here.
Yeah.
So maybe I have to find another healer's kit.
Oh, they're not too expensive.
I'm gonna go find my dagger I threw.
I'm gonna cast Cure Wounds on myself because screw everybody else.
I think you need it. And it will fix your leg.
Yeah, it'll fix my leg.
Pales, give me an investigation check to see if you can find your dagger.
Can't take 10. Fucking 11.
You can't find your dagger, but you find a dagger.
Good enough for
All
me.
the corpses out here. I'm sure some of them had
Yeah, I
gold
mean,
on them.
some of these guards got weapons on them, so
Yeah.
I'll start
You just-
examining the bodies. Just, see what we got here. Oh, who is this?
For medical pip, you're trying to help the people, seeing who's alive and who's dead.
Who is this poor soul who doesn't have any coin on him? That's a shame.
So
Just
we'll,
shaking them to listen for jingling.
Just pick up the people by the legs and shake, see if anything comes out of the pockets.
Not that strong.
So we'll conclude there for evening, and we'll pick up in the aftermath of this battle next time. I know that this is just the first session. What did people think?
I had fun.
I think I need to roll higher on my
Yeah, it was good.
initiative.
Yeah. I don't know what's going on yet, so everything feels confusing.
There were exploding people. It was great.
So the Hindenburg exploded, and then the survivors came to us, and they started exploding and becoming flaming things, and that's what happened.
Perfect.
Level up.
Now,
I tried. I need
Yeah.
it.
Don't we get credit for everything killed out here? That has to be 300 XP.
Yeah.
That's it. It's only 300 XP, and we have to split it.
That's
yeah, I did try to create this to be a less traditional battle. I think it's pretty obvious that these were all minions. They only had 1 hit point. I let that slip when I didn't ask Kurt to roll the damage the one time, and I realized that after the fact.
I still only have 1 attack per round, so it couldn't really change my
Ain't a big
tactics.
thing.
But yeah, I kind of wanted this to be more of a a battle with an objective other than just killing the things. So getting Cardinal Crozen safe was really the main thing that I was hoping that you guys would do.
See, here, one thing that only occurred to me later on, and I felt maybe I was sort of metagaming, is it first, my thought was, just possibly based on the way how I pictured it, that the real danger was Crozen was going to get trampled by all these people who are running panic. And that maybe we could like mop up all of the devils that were appearing in the crowd, and then get him safely inside. And so it was only when I realized after that there were possibly so many enemies that you didn't actually intend for us to go and defeat them all, that I was like, oh, maybe we're supposed to get him up the ladder.
Yeah, I don't mind if you guys metagame as long as it gets the job done to some degree. But I also felt like that was pretty in character for Solomon, especially because, he's like...
Well, once I realized there were so many that we couldn't possibly defeat them
Yeah.
all, then getting Crozen somewhere safe. Even if I thought it was unlikely to work out perfectly.
Right.
It worked out way better than I expected.
And actually, it's interesting because it wasn't apparent immediately that there was going to be an onslaught of enemies. And I think that was intentional because, it starts with 1 and 2, but then more are coming out. And now it's like, okay, how many of these things are there? And how are they propagating?
Oh,
that's why I was hoping I would actually have knocked that guy out.
It has also occurred to me that all of these other people might still transform. Cardinal Crozen might transform.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, you cast protection from evil and good on him.
That's true. And by the way, before I heal my mother, I would use my action to reestablish the protection from evil, because I'm sure he's still snailing his way up that rope ladder.
No, I think it was good, and the thing which I was aiming to try and do, and I think a few of us were, was make enough of a blockade between these creatures that were coming and the civilians, and try and get the civilians closer to the gate, and then we could protect them in like a semicircle or something.
Mm-hmm.
Right, but since they were the ones transforming,
Yeah,
we would
exactly.
have just been huddling them all into one mass, so they could have exploded and taken out the whole crowd.
Which really would have gone ahead and solved the whole problem anyway. So either way, it's a win.
And maybe blow a hole in the gate.
I think the gate's made of sterner stuff than that.
I don't know. Maybe.
Well, it does say made in China on it, so we can't trust it.
But yeah, I thought I was also hoping that this would be a good introductory battle to kind of be like a kind of stress test for your characters as well. So.
Yeah, I mean, my character doesn't become truly viable at least till 2nd level, if not 3rd.
Yeah.
3rd level's really the sweet spot. It's when I stop. Like I get, oh boy, spell next level.
Don't you get Channel Divinity too?
Yeah, I do get that. But it's like I used up all my spells healing Crozen when I first met him, and that was more flavor than anything. And then protection from evil, he never actually got attacked.
Yep.
But he could have, like,
Could have.
Some of them that were getting in range to attack you, they fell before they had a chance to attack, and also you protected him from getting those attacks of opportunity as well, and those kinds of things. So you were taking some active steps to prevent him from getting hit in the first place.
Yeah, I don't think tactically it was necessarily a bad decision to cast it on him. It just happens to have worked out that I could have used the spell slot for something else.
Yep. All right.
All right,
So,
so- 2 weeks.
yes, and then we will pick back up.
Okay.
All right.
Talk to you later.
All right. Later, everyone.
Later.
Yeah.